is good. About 3 is good. I'm not over far enough. I'm going to move the table. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome into the Rant here in the Kelly Moore North Studios in beautiful Burbank, south side of Chicago, Illinois. Sorry about the false start there. I had some issues earlier today, and I did some poking around, and that's never good. It's never good when I start poking around with the computer setup, and we had a problem. There we go. Al is back. We got Maddie. She was lost. We got Mikey D. There's Taronda. Now my people are coming. Leslie C. Jen. I love this. It's my favorite part. Everybody say hi. Thank you. Adam's here. April. The view is mirrored. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I know how to do that. I know how to fix that. Oh, yeah. Look, everything is backwards. Okay. I know how to do that. Sure. Guys can get a show now. Push products profile. Video. I mean, that's it. Auto mirror camera. No. Fixed. Thank you. See, there are some things that I do know how to do when I poke around. All right, Rob is here. We've got April. We've got Adam. We got Mikey D. There's Al. He's back. Byron's back. All right, everybody's back. Good to see y'all, and welcome into today's Rant Talk Radio for normal people, the 70% of us who can get along, irregardless of how we voted. We all gather here every day around about noon. Been doing it since 2021. And what do? Well, we chop it up. Hold on. Isn't that a cocaine term? Isn't chop it up is a coke term, right? Yeah, everybody uses it. Everybody, like my kid used it. My kid was like, "Hey, just over there chopping it up." I'm like, I think that's a drug reference. That's somehow been mainstreamed. Hi, Goat. Goat's here now. A lot to talk about. We're going to get into a whole bunch of stuff today. As I say, this is talk radio for normal people. We're not Republicans. We're not Democrats, because here, at least if you follow my lead, we think they're all garbage, and they're all endlessly trying to, and relentlessly trying to manipulate us into thinking whatever it is that puts money in their pockets. That's the best way. It's all about money. These people are all clowns. I, however, think there is hope. There is hope and there is faith, and that's why we do this show every single day, because America is the greatest country on earth. Yeah, that's right. Look at me. I'm somebody who doesn't care if some stranger decides that, they're born with a dick, but now they want to be a woman. I don't care about that. Do you care about that? Let them be, let live is what I say. And that's kind of the attitude here. This is, our social issues that we confront here. They're all so easily fixable. You know how every social issue that defines America right now, or divides America right now, can be fixed? It's fucking mind your own business. It's mind your own business. That's it. We used to be a country that knew how to mind our own business, but now apparently because of social media, because everybody's businesses are all our business, right? Anyway, that's kind of the attitude that we take here on the show, and we're happy to have you join every day at noon. Talk radio for normal people. Big Billy Folk hanging out. Hi, Billy. All right, here's what we're going to get into today, okay? So if you're going to hang out with me for the next couple of hours, we're going to talk about these things. Obviously, we're going to cover the big story in Minneapolis. It's an ongoing story. I got some takes. I've had 24 hours since we covered the Minneapolis shooting live as it unfolded yesterday. We had a lot of questions. Some of us made some statements, myself included, that I'd like to walk back today because, remember, we like in politics when people change their opinion or have a different view of something when the dust settles. We like to call them flip-floppers, and that's bad. You flip-flopped. Why, just last evening you said it was dark out, and now it's noon, and you're saying that the sun is too bright. Why do you flip-flop? Well, flip-flopping. Anybody who's ever accused anyone of being a flip-flopper is a disingenuous piece of shit, because we all change our mind as new information comes across our desk. And that's kind of happened to me since yesterday. I had some really strong views about what we saw yesterday in Minnesota, and I'm going to walk back a few of them. Not terribly. I mean, look, I think I'm pretty, as they say, as my black sisters might say, I'm a little shook by everything that went down yesterday. So we're going to try, now that the dust has settled, we're going to try and talk it up like normal, decent Americans and how we're supposed to react to this. I want to get into the whole concept of who the victim was. I'm not talking about, what her hobbies were or, things she reshared or favorited on social media. Nah, I want to talk more general. I want to talk about white women. She's a white woman. And this is, I said this yesterday. I said, oh my God, if we find out that this is just some soccer mom with some kids, we're all going to be clutching pearls. Well, that kind of turned out to be the case. Except with one caveat. She's a lesbian. So, I think we'll get into that. We'll talk about how all of that plays into how we view this situation. But I do want to talk about white women. Why? Well, because I've had a long history of being attracted to white women and being in relationships with white women. That's not to say that I exclude women of any other race, ethnicity, or, religion. No. Like all women. It's just that it's been, seems like there's like 10 white women to every like non-white woman that I encounter. So my dating history is almost exclusively white women. Although I did spend time in Texas, so I do know about the Latina. The Latina is pretty great, if you ask me. I know people, you don't want to date a Latina woman. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. They're beautiful, they're very sexual, and they cook. So, all three of those things are good for me. But we are going to talk about white women. Buckle up, people. I might say some things that offend you, but hey, I'm just being me, Mr. 70% in the middle. I've also created a list. We'll count it down. A list, a top 10 list of the people we care about most. Okay? And by that, what I mean is the top 10 list of people that will get us to take to the streets. The top 10 list of people that will get us to burn down Burger Kings in our own neighborhood. That's what I've got for you. So we'll do that. And then we'll just cover all the nonsense that's going on in Minnesota. And there is a whole bunch of nonsense. We got some videos now that we'll watch and all that good stuff. What else? We're taking oil. We're like pirates out there on the high seas, or are we pirates? I mean, there's a couple of different ways to look at it. So we'll talk a little bit about that, what we're doing out there on the high seas. What else? I got video of people. I got video of people I want to react to. I got video of Megyn Kelly. I got video of Stephen Miller. I got video of Dan Bongino. We're going to do all of that stuff. These people are saying things, and I have opinions on what they're saying, and I would like to counter them. A bunch of Hollywood drama. Yeah, we'll get to the mom group thing. There's a big war going on there in Hollywood with, I'm just going to go ahead and call them B-listers, B-list Hollywood mommy group, right? You got your Mandy Moores, your Hillary Duff, and your Ashley Tisdales. They're all going at it. Meghan Trainor's involved. Is Meghan Trainor like the most relevant of that group? I don't know. Anyway, bunch of B-list mommy groups are at war, and we'll talk about that. Plus, the latest on Paramount, Skydance, and Trump trying to force Warner Brothers Discovery to sell to, or not to sell to Netflix. So we'll get in. There's a whole bunch of nonsense going on in Hollywood. We'll talk about that as well. We've got an Epstein file update, and it ain't good, but buckle up, folks, for that one, because that one I'm going to rant on. That one I've got real opinions on. Bunch of football stuff. We got coaches being fired. Black Monday has turned into Black Tuesday, which has turned into Black Wednesday, which now it's Thursday. We'll see what X falls on whose neck today. There's a couple others out there that still, a couple guys who, if they go out in the first round, we'll talk football. We'll look at the lay of the land. We've got a big game tonight, college football game. I'll tell you about that. Fiesta Bowl. What else do we have today? I wanted to do a story on the absurd cost of youth sports as a part of my ongoing rant about taking back the middle class and the working class. Nobody cares about us. On my list of things that'll get us to come out and protest, I don't even have the working class ranked because who cares about the working class? The cost of youth sports. The dream, little Timmy out there, he's got a rocket for an arm. Well, his dad better not be a plumber. His dad better own multiple plumbing companies if he wants that kid to get noticed. The high cost of youth sports. We're going to talk about that too. Also, we will have the conversation that I teased yesterday. Does Landman suck? I don't know. I don't know if it sucks. Is Landman stupid? Yes, Landman is stupid. But, the question from yesterday, is Landman stupid, has evolved today to, does Landman suck? I don't know. It's complicated because Billy Bob Thornton absolutely does not suck. Demi Moore absolutely does not suck. But the show itself, it very well may suck, and we'll break that down today. And we got some fun videos that we'll look at. Got a fish that looks like Trump. It's pretty funny. I'll share that with you at the end. It's a fish in an aquarium. It's swimming around. It looks just like Trump. I swear to God, can't make these things up. It's a real video. I know. We live in the AI area. The AI area, I just said. The AI era. All right, so that and a whole bunch more, plus your comments in the chat room. We like to keep the chat room moving. I would like to say, draw your attention to the bottom there. This show runs on your tips and your gratuities. If you support this kind of talk radio, the kind of talk radio that doesn't carry water for any one political party, I'm talking about you, AM Talk Radio. Or if you just like people who are normal, who like one day will seem like, hey, he's anti-Trump. And then the next day he's like, hey, he seems like he might be kind of conservative. And then the next day it's like, who is this libtard I'm listening to? Well, you've got me. You've got me. That's me. Because I'm like you. We're all over the place. We're normal people. If you were raised right with a solid moral foundation and you've lived your life principled and dedicated to the way the good people who raised you wanted you to be, I think life is complicated and we take things from here and we take things from there. Anyway, tired of talking about who I am. Here's a Witch Kitty. That's Rob. That's my buddy Rob. We're doing the Unheard Music Show, me, Rob, and Ed. It's coming. Trust me. It's going to be good and it's going to be right. That's why it's taking a while. Rob says, yeah, I stopped watching Landman after 10 minutes into the new season. That's not me. I'm still there. I'm still, as a matter of fact, Landman is still so high on my watch list that it is currently the only show that I watch episodically. That I'll watch because it posts Sunday nights, I guess, on Paramount. That's when I watch it on the Paramount app. So I guess it posts Sunday night, and there I am every Sunday night, or at least Monday. I'm like, well, I got to watch the new episode of Landman. And that's rare for me because that with certain series, I will let the entire series, the entire season run, and then I'll have all of them, and then I'll binge them at my leisure. There are very few shows that I think are so good that I just can't wait. So I'll just watch it 1 hour at a time, and then when it's over, I'll be like, I can't believe I got to wait another week for another episode. I'll do that with a show that is particularly of interest to me from time to time. Succession was a good example of that. I watched Succession weekly. I watched Succession at 8 o'clock, like right when it came on. I'm not even watching it on an app. I'm actually watching it on old-timey HBO. Landman is like that for me still. Although, if I'm being honest, this is why I think it's stupid. The latest episode, I got one episode of Landman, and I'm all caught up. It's the most recent episode, and I'll tell you whether or not I've seen it yet. All right, that's coming up. Landman. Thank you, Rob. Rob bailed after 10 minutes. It is kind of, look, it's fun. Billy Bob Thornton is awesome. I could just watch Billy Bob Thornton read the phone book, as my grandpa used to say. My grandpa had two ways of criticizing performers. My grandpa would say, I could watch that guy read the phone book, and that means that he really likes this guy. And then the opposite of that was, I wouldn't open my blinds if he was performing in the backyard. That's the other. That's what I was raised with. An old man who had that view of things. Adam is in the chat room. Adam says, I like to watch weekly to be in discussion with others. That's fine. I find that other people's TV breakdowns infuriates me, so I don't want to talk with other people. You want to know something that I have been watching, though, the last couple of nights, and I just decided to jump back in, and I am so happy to have jumped back in. Here you go. Here's a pick to click. If you haven't seen this yet, and I wonder, look, I've got some, how do we say, I have some non-alpha tendencies when it comes to my television viewing. I love the rom-com. Yeah, big rom-com fan. I love that shit. Notebook makes me cry. Every time I've seen the Notebook like 5 times, it still makes me cry. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a pussy, but so be it. I have started re-binging the final season. I think it's season 5. And I didn't go back and re-binge the whole season from season 1 or the whole series. But I did start on Monday night rewatching season 5 of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I'm not supposed to like that show. That's a show for gay men and fat women. That's who that show is for. It's very non-alpha, that show. But I am a bit of a showbiz kid. Like, I'm fascinated by all of that shit. So it really delves into that. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was conceived originally as a series about the life of Joan Rivers. But then Joan Rivers' family, they got a little bit upset about something. And so Amy Palladino, who's the creator of the show, went, all right, fine, whatever. We're just going to use Joan as the template. And so it turned into The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And it is a really good show about a woman trying to be a stand-up comic in the 1960s. And the reason that I watched season 5 is because season 5 is not to kill you on this, but she becomes Joan Rivers. She becomes like the most famous female comic of all time. The show starts out in the 1950s, and season 5 takes you through the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, and you get to see all these characters. It's so good. It is so good. I'm sorry. If you've never seen that show and you're interested in what stand-up comedy was like in the 1960s and how these people that we used to watch on Dean Martin roasts, how these people matriculated their way through show business and all that, it's fascinating. And it's her, Mrs. Maisel, who is again, Joan Rivers. Just imagine her as a young Joan Rivers trying to navigate her way through show business. So it's Mrs. Maisel, and she's fictional because apparently the Rivers family had a problem at the last minute, but whatever. Mrs. Maisel is fictional, but she interacts with real people. Unless the storyline calls for that real celebrity to be somehow diminished or somehow, portrayed as terrible, then they kind of change it. Like there was a character that was really terrible that screwed her over, who was obviously supposed to be Johnny Mathis, but they gave him a different name. Anyway, that's what I'm watching. Yeah, she was. Yeah, that's bump, 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 bump. Adam points out that Joan Rivers was the template for Hacks too. Hacks came after Maisel. The family of Joan Rivers wanted a show, and it was originally supposed to be Maisel. And then Hacks came along. You're right. Yeah, he's absolutely right. It is the template for Joan Rivers. I think the Joan Rivers family had a problem with Hacks too, and that's why. But they're both excellent shows. And honestly, if you go straight from Mrs. Maisel into Hacks, it almost works. It almost works. Anyway, I'm all into the Maisel. I'm all into the Miriam Midge Maisel right now. The acting is so good on that show, and the writing is so good. And can we just for a moment talk about who's the chick? The real standout star of that show is Susie, her manager, who is that woman who we all know her voice because she plays what's that show? Family Guy. What's her name? The mom on Family, right? She's the mom on Family Guy. She said, so Peter, you hear that. Anyway, that's her in real life. She's so good. She plays the manager, Susie. She's Susie Meyerson. Like a fake Harry Belafonte. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're talking about. Like a fake Harry Belafonte. Was there a Harry Belafonte plot line in Mrs. Maisel? I don't know. I just know the guy that she got sideways with. The guy who Sterling K. Brown played, the manager that fired Mrs. Maisel from being the opening act for this person. I know that person was supposed to be Johnny Mathis. Johnny Mathis. Shai Baldwin. Yeah, that's it. That's his name. Good. Adam likes the show too. Adam knows what he's talking about. Yeah, no, Shai Baldwin was Johnny Mathis, not Harry Belafonte. But I could see how a racist like you could get those two confused. Look at what I just did to Adam. I just slayed him. Because he can't tell the difference between Harry Belafonte and Johnny Mathis. They're the same thing to him. because they're both black guys from the 60s, and I think there were only 5 that were allowed to be famous back then. Not in sports. I think in non-sport, there were a whole bunch of like black guys who were allowed to be famous in sports back then. But as far as Hollywood and TV and movies go, I think there were only 5. Harry Belafonte was one of them. Sidney Poitier was another. James Earl Jones was a third. But we'll continue. Anyway, I am truly enjoying my re-binge of season 5, I want to say. All right, let's check in with what's going on in Minnesota. They had a shooting there. We all covered it yesterday on the show. Let's see what this is all about. It seems to be a gathering of people. No sound. This is not live coverage because the gathering of people was not that impressive. I saw a helicopter shot earlier, and like I said, there's about 40 or 50 people out there for this white woman. And they all look like they're, I don't know. These are not the people who are going to burn down a Burger King is what I am saying here. So let's talk about what we know now about the shooting yesterday. We'll watch this. We'll keep this a little small on the side, see if anything happens. All right. I don't like that size. That's not good. Can it be bigger? Is that all right? All right, but now I got to move over, don't I? Yeah. Now I got to move over. Ah! All right, here we go. All right, this will work. Just bear with me, folks. All right, so the woman's dead. We knew that yesterday. 37-year-old Good. Rachel. Is it Rachel Good? What's her name? I should know her name. Oh, the guy that's about to rant should probably know her name, right? Yeah, it's Renee, not Rachel. I'm sorry. All right, the dead woman, Renee Nicole Macklin Good. She was married to a stand-up comic named Tim Macklin, who wasn't famous, but he does have some videos out there, and he appeared in a bunch of podcasts, and I watched some of them yesterday. He seemed like a good dude. Tim Macklin died in 2023, I believe. This is the husband and father of the child of Renee Macklin Good. He died. He was young. He was like a young comic. Like I'm watching him on all these podcasts, and then I'm reading all these obituaries. No idea how he died. Don't know if it was an accident, whatever. But young people, when they die like that, you think, what the hell happened to them? Must have been an accident. Renee Nicole Macklin Good. She had a 6-year-old child. Her mother told the Minnesota Star Tribune all of this information. That's where this comes from. Macklin Good described herself on social media as a poet and a writer and a wife and a mom. She was originally from Colorado Springs, Colorado. She was living in the Minneapolis area, which, a lot of people were like, she had Missouri plates. Well, I don't know what that means, but I lived in Texas for 5 years with Illinois plates. So, people sometimes do that. She did live in Missouri for a period of time, but it does appear that she was an established resident of Minneapolis who lived in the neighborhood. I say that now. I say that with some authority because that's what I've heard from multiple things, but that might not be true because we have no institutions anymore and we have no idea what is true and what isn't. But according to what is being accepted right now at 12:43 Central Standard Time, she appears to have lived in the neighborhood. She was born in Colorado. She grew up in Colorado Springs. She spent time in Missouri. She has now been living and established to have been living there in Minnesota with her wife. Which is interesting, just not for me. I don't care. I hope she said this is a tragedy nonetheless. This isn't affected at all by the fact that she turns out to be a lesbian woman. But for the people who are looking for ammunition to somehow diminish what occurred here, that's something they're going to run with. Oh, well, one of them, the militant lesbian. There'll be that whole thing. She describes herself on social media as a poet and a writer, which means she's I've also heard that she had like 2 daughters. Like there's stories about there's 2 other daughters, which we don't know. But again, more dust will settle and we'll get the full picture. Somebody will do a full profile on her. But so she was married and that she had a child, a boy with Tim Macklin, the comedian, and he died terribly. I mean, this is terrible. You're a young mother with a little baby. You're a poet. You're a writer. So you're not a breadwinner. You're not. It's not like you have. All of a sudden your husband is dead, and you're like, oh, what am I going to do? she met someone new, and now she's in a same-sex marriage. I'm not questioning it, but it is interesting. It's like, oh, okay. So was she always a lesbian? Did Tim die unloved? I'm not sure how that works, but whatever. Poet, writer. See, all of these things, to me, as an independent observer, and here's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of, right? This is what I want to know. Because there is no information about what we saw that can come out that can make me think it's okay. Okay, it's not okay. It's just not okay on any level. The way everybody behaved, it is not okay. So there is no information. However, there is some question as to whether or not she was an active participant in the disruption of the law enforcement process. Or was she just a woman in the neighborhood who had come out and decided to defend the neighborhood? Like a citizen, just saying no to this. Which is it? I guess there's a third. Was she just a soccer mom stuck in traffic at a really bad time and tried to turn right? So, but let's eliminate that one. I think we know that for some reason she was motivated to become a participant in this protest. Now, the question also becomes, was she a professional protester? The Missouri plates certainly helped that side. She came in from Missouri. Well, first of all, Missouri and Minnesota, as people, you got Iowa in between there. We're all incestuous here in the Midwest. We move around. It's not a big deal. I feared yesterday, what I said was, if this is some 30-something soccer mom who just got stuck in traffic and had to make a U-turn in snow, and now she's dead because she was shot 3 times in the face, that's going to be a problem. And that's kind of how it turned out, except for the part where she was just an innocent soccer mom. If she was participating in this, it does change the way I look at it. However, it doesn't change my response to it. What's going on? Did we lose the live feed? Yeah, we did. We lost the live feed from Minnesota. Let me see if we get another one. I'm a big truth to power guy. So I believe in protest. I believe in saying to the authoritarian power, no. I believe that. That's my whole thing whenever I talk about intervention. You're a hawk. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just an American who believes that we decided years ago that the American way of life was best and that we built our defense and our military into something that could enforce our values around the globe, because ultimately we think our values are probably better than some of the values that we see being expressed in cultures around the world. That's all. That's it. I say this all the time. We have shitty education and shitty healthcare in this country because we spend all of our tax dollars building bombs that then sit in the desert because we never use them. I'm not a hawk. I have a 16-year-old son. I don't want him to go to war. But, also there's a part of me that thinks it's just going to be robot drone wars from here on out. Okay. Sorry, I need a drink. Let's see. It goes on to say about Renee Macklin Good. It is not clear in the videos if the vehicle makes contact with the officer, and there is no indication of whether or not the woman had interactions with ICE officers before the video started. Okay, so let's go with the first part here. It is not clear in the videos if the vehicle makes contact with the officer. I don't know if that's a true statement. The officer makes contact with the vehicle, but the question is he making contact with the vehicle because the vehicle is moving towards him? Or is he, and this is the way I see it, he seems to be pushing off the vehicle. Like in some moment of incredible stupidity, he felt that he could push the car, the moving car, to where he wanted. I don't think the car intentionally crashes into him. I've seen all the angles. We've all seen them by now. We haven't seen the one the president saw, because apparently the president saw a completely different angle than I saw. But no, it does not look to me like this woman is intentionally driving into him. So that's a big problem. It says here, it is not clear in the video if the vehicle makes contact with the officer, and there is no indication of whether or not the woman had interactions with ICE officers before the video started. After the shooting, the SUV speeds into two parked cars on a curb nearby before crashing to stop. Let's think about that guy. Let's think about that guy who was living there, just cars parked in front of his house. It's early in the morning. Maybe he's a bartender. Maybe he sleeps till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He's like, what the fuck, man? Two cars got hit, and then it slammed into a pole. It says here in another video taken at the scene, a woman who described Macklin Good as her spouse is seen crying near the vehicle. The woman, who was not identified, said the couple had only recently arrived in Minnesota and that they had a child. Now, here are some questions I have about this, because this is interesting. There is obviously a woman who is very front and center in the videos that we've seen of the incident. She is the woman screaming, what the fuck? What the fuck? She's kind of going a little bit, she's just seen something that I think all of us would react in an undetermined way. I mean, I don't know how I would react, but I begrudge nobody for the way they react after witnessing what she witnessed. Is that woman the wife? Is the woman who was like, because I don't know. I have odd thoughts about that reaction if in fact it was your wife. But here's the question. The wife wasn't in the car. The wife was outside the car when this all happened. Why? Why was the wife outside the car? That tells me that these two people were there actively participating in the protest, which is fine and is encouraged on my part. I believe that this is something we should be doing. And by the way, later today, we're going to talk about the legality of filming police officers. There seems to be some question as to whether or not we are legally allowed as citizens of the United States to document the actions of police who are acting, for all intents and purposes, on our behalf. So we'll talk about that, whether or not it is legal to pull out your phone, because people are saying it's not. Other people are saying it is. But the woman outside the car, the fact that she wasn't in the car, so I don't know. We don't know what was going on. And I'm putting all of these context things together. She's a poet, which means she's sensitive and she's artistic and theatrical. Okay, that's what that's telling me. She's a poet writer. And that's cool. I think those are cool things. My son's a bit of a poet writer, right? He's also an offensive center, and he squats like 400 pounds. But yeah, I'm just saying, people can have all of these different levels. He doesn't squat 400 pounds. I'm saying that the reaction, this is what I'm discussing. I'm talking about how can we expect the reaction to this over the next few days. And I really think that a lot of those factors go into if this was just a soccer mom, as we feared, who was, stuck in traffic, and she's like, oh my God, I'm in the middle. And she turns around and she doesn't know how to act. She freaks out and everybody behaves badly. And now she's dead. If that was the case, I could see it being a real problem. But I seem to think that there are way too many boxes being checked when we run down who this woman was, this victim. This woman was murdered. Let's not lose sight of that. But there are just way too many boxes that the opposition is going to check, which is going to cause there to be, not a whole lot of hubbub about this. This is not going to cause million-man marches in cities all across America. It's just not. She's a white, middle-aged lesbian woman who's a poet. There are just a lot of people in America will hear those things and go, yeah, she's one of them weirdos. Probably smokes clove cigarettes. Probably lounges around the house wearing Morrissey t-shirts. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying why we should expect what we're about to get, which is absolutely nothing. A couple of days of speeches. This is not going, Minneapolis is not going to burn over this woman. It's just not. She's a white woman. And this is something that I've been thinking about this since last night. I've been like, what could it have been? What classification of modern human American would get the response of 1 million people coming out? Who do we care about? So I made a quick little list, and you may want to challenge me on this, and that's fine. That's kind of what this show is about. So I made a little list. All right. I don't know. Adam's like, Mason has to squat. I don't know. He set the school record. I don't know what squatting is. I don't know what is a good number. So just stop it. There you go. Here's Byron. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This poet, writer, retarded, says Byron. I do not agree with that at all. But this is my point. This is how all of these things that we find out about her, right? If she was a widow whose husband just recently died and she moved to Minnesota and she's in a new relationship with a guy who's a fireman and they're just living there and she was stuck, then it would be a big deal. But this woman seems to have all of the earmarks of somebody who MAGA will be able to draw a fairly good caricature of and promote that. She was a lesbian troublemaker, right? That's what you're going to get. And although that may not resonate with everybody, but to people who may have been motivated to go down to the town square on Saturday and march on her behalf are not going to do it. They're going to be like, oh, white woman? She's a white woman in her 30s. She's a lesbian. Nobody gives a fuck about them. So I started thinking about the list. What are the things that happen? Who are the people who get victimized in these instances that do draw some sort of civil unrest? And by that, I'm talking about the rioting. I'm not talking about, 10,000 people in a town square holding candles. All right, here we go. The number one, this is what I think is the number one thing that will get people outraged, okay? If the victim of one of these things is a little white girl, God help us if she's cute, little white girl, the John Bonet factor. If it is a cute little white girl and suddenly something bad has happened to him, everybody in America is outraged and we're going to have problems. Number one on the list of things we care about, little white girls. Number two on the list of things that we seem to care the most about, that would be missing teenaged white girls. Missing teenaged white girls. We've got a whole Amber Alert system in this country. Laws were passed. Missing teenage white girls. We're very, very interested in keeping tabs on them. Okay, number three things that we care most about, little white boys. Little white boy, cute little white boy, and put his picture on the news. He's wearing his little league outfit. Oh my God. Oh, what did they do to the little white boy? All right, number five, okay? Number five, this is a big one. We're starting to get into the more let's burn the Burger King down type areas, right? This is number five, teenage black male shot by white man. Oh, we care about that, but it's gotta be that. It's gotta be a teenage black murdered by a preferably middle-aged white. That's like perfect. Middle-aged white. You're George Zimmerman, if you can. I mean, that's what we care about. It's number five. Teen black male shot by white men. Number six, and this is a newcomer because this category used to not be cared about at all. Not at all, man. These were like the last in the list, but now they're number six, and that's black women. Black women. Black women have a voice. It's called Beyonce. All she's got to do is do one concert for some black woman that something bad happened to. We care. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just pointing this out. I'm a social observer. These are the groups that we seem to care about the most. Number six, black women. Number seven, all other minorities and sexual orientations. Number seven is whatever you are, as long as you're not a white person. If you are brown, you're Asian, you're Indian, whatever you are, black or gay or trans, that comes in at number seven. We seem to care about all of that. Number eight, foreign-born children. Foreign-born children, we seem to care about them, not quite as much as we do about American-born white children, but foreign-born children coming at number eight. Number nine on our list of 10, and this is where it gets interesting because, you will hear from people like me, because I have said this too. Again, just pointing it out, man. Just pointing it out. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying we need to change it. I'm just pointing it out. Number nine is white men. White men. Nobody gives a fuck about white men. White men are almost always the perpetrator. It's almost always the guy we're mad at. The white man did something. That's don't hire a white middle-aged man. He can't get a job. I'm living proof of that. White men, we don't care. And here's the issue, though. White men are real loud, and a lot of white men still have position. I mean, white men still run the world for the most part. We've got, I hate to use the term tokenism, but, we've been doing that. What are you talking about? We've got one black guy on the Supreme Court. Actually, how many blacks do we have? We got Tanya Jackson. We got Clarence Thomas. And we got a bunch of other ones. We got a bunch of, we got a Sotomayor. We got she's not black, but point is this. White men still control everything. I mean, just look at Donald Trump. White men still control everything. Which is why, they have the platform to be able to go, white men get nothing in their herd. They're just loud. But the group that is even marginalized more than white men are their wives. White women come up at number 10. We care the least about white women. They have no advocacy group. There isn't like Beyonce, if a black woman, something bad happens to a black woman, they are all going to rally around that. And with good reason. I am not trying to mock any of this. I am simply pointing it out as a social observer. White women got nothing. They got nothing. Nobody cares about a white woman. And, the men, the white men are like, no, it's us. No, man, you put your wives in a corner. Here's the problem, though, with white women. And as I said, I've spent my whole life around white women. They're crazy. That's how I'll start it. White women are crazy. White women do not like each other. That's something. I mean, look, I have been in any number of relationships, and all of the relationships I've been in have come with a best friend. Mandy, my best friend, Mandy. And I'll tell you, in every single one of these relationships, it depends on the week whether or not Mandy is still the best friend, because girls always turn on each other. Not boys. We get pissed at each other. We're like, that guy's a dick, but we're still friends. We're still, I don't know. White women don't have each other's back. I mean, half the white women, there are a lot of white women in this country that'll just do what their husband says. I vote like he votes. Oh, Bob's the one who makes all those decisions. Yeah, there's a lot of that. And it's getting stronger. The whole trad wife thing is coming back. What is a trad wife? A trad wife is somebody who does whatever the fuck her white man husband says. That's what it is. So there you have it. There is your list as I have created it. Maybe in the chat room you have some amendments to this. Number one thing that we care about the most are little white girls. And the number 10 thing we care about the absolute least are those little white girls once they grow up. Once they grow up and have a kid, it's like they're spoiled to us. Let's check back in on Minnesota. Let's see if there's anything new going on there. I'm trying to... Oh, look at this. Oh, we got J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is right now giving a White House briefing. This fucking clown show. Oh, my God. Let's see. Anything new going on from... No, there is no live... See, there you go. There is no live coverage. No local news stations in Minneapolis feel compelled to break into, All My Children or whatever the hell it is that is airing there. They don't feel compelled to cover it live because nobody cares. This story will be forgotten in a couple of days because it's a white poet lesbian woman. And oh my God, that's just checking too many boxes for us to care. Adam says they have Taylor Swift. No, they don't. Hey, no, Taylor Swift does not. No, Taylor Swift represents like girls under the age of 22. Taylor Swift is huge with 14-year-old girls. White women, 35-year-old women, they used to have Oprah, ironically enough. But then Oprah got out. Oprah's like, yeah, I'm tired of representing you white women. Taylor Swift is for teenage girls and gay men. That's it. That's her appeal. Taylor Swift. Nobody else loves Taylor Swift. We all tolerate her, or we think she's fine. I don't have an opinion on Taylor Swift. Anyway, that's who she's for. She's for teenage girls and fat women. No, that was, what was the other one? Fat women and gays. They're the ones who like Mrs. Maisel, I think. And me, fat women and gays. Well, Barney's got something to say. This ought to be good. This is a volatile conversation we're having. Barney says, for shutting black or maybe other minorities kidnapping missing blonde white female under 25. I don't know. I can't put that together. Thanks for playing. Byron points this out, which is, it's not wrong. Why was her wife outside the car? They were actively participating in the disruption of this operation. Byron says the wife was outside the car so she could film her love standing up against ice. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I do not know that the woman who was filming, who we hear going, what the fuck, is in fact the wife of the victim. We don't know. Maybe? I don't know. We don't know. Maddie's probably got a really smart comment here. White women, fortunately or unfortunately, have Ashley Judd. There you go. What? No, you've got white women have Gwyneth Paltrow. That's who white women have, and that's why they are so completely. Their patron saint is like a D-lister at this point, an aging D-lister who makes vagina-scented candles. They used to have Oprah. Also, a lot of white women. Also, Streisand. She's too old. Streisand's too old now. Cher's out there saying shit, but Cher doesn't really represent white women. She represents gay men. That's what I would think, anyway. Is it like who is the? Think about it. Who do white women have? I mean, you white men. You get any number of things. Like Trump, white men. What do white women have? I mean, I've rejected Adam's belief that white women have Taylor Swift. I don't think so. White women have like, is it Megyn Kelly? Is that who white women have? Which kind of proves the point of the problem. If that's who white women have, I don't know. All right. All right. So let's see. What else here do we have? Well, any more information about what went down there? Let's see here. Minnesota investigators. Okay, so here's the story today. Minnesota investigators are saying that the feds are not allowing them to conduct their investigation the way that the authority in the state, would like to do it. So they say they can't access evidence, that the FBI and ICE is not cooperating. They are supposedly working on a jointly on this probe, but the Minnesota authorities this morning are out there screaming that they are not being allowed access to evidence. All of the things that I kind of imagined was going to happen, because this is what we got. Feds need to take a step back. The feds are involved here. The feds, through the president of the United States and Kristi Noem, who is so hot. She's distracting how attractive she is. They've all come out. No investigation needed, as with Ghislaine and the Epstein file. Remember, they didn't even bother talking to Ghislaine until a couple of months ago, even though she was already convicted and put in prison. They didn't even bother. They had to go talk to her again. So this is a thing that the feds do. They don't investigate. They just declare. And Kristi Noem and Trump have both declared this to be an act of domestic terrorism, which is absolute bullshit. So you can see how, if you were a truth seeker like I am, and I hope you are, you can see how we might sit here and go, I would like Minnesota to conduct this investigation. I would like somebody who hasn't already said pre-investigation what this is to tell us what this is, because she is not a domestic terrorist. And if you are calling her a domestic terrorist, then you have lowered the bar so low that you guys better be careful not to walk past a mirror, because you're going to see a bunch of domestic terrorists. Don't lower that fucking bar like this, man. That is a slippery slope. Domestic terrorist. She's a citizen who may have taken it a step too far, maybe didn't behave as one should. but it certainly shouldn't have been a death sentence. I think we can agree on that. President and Christie Nome both saying this is domestic terrorism. So the FBI and the feds are all taking the lead in this investigation. Of course, Minnesota is pissed about that. So that's the story from today. Here, I want to show this. I want to show there's some video going around. Let's delve into some video here. This is the famous video of the doctor not being allowed to access the scene. Do you remember this? Everybody talked about this yesterday. Let's watch it. Supposedly, after the incident occurred, the shooting, the murder, I'll call it a murder. After the murder occurred, there was a doctor on the scene who wanted to render immediate care. And it was videotaped. This doctor asking the ICE or cops or whatever they were, whoever these guys, Department of Homeland Security, asking them, can I check her pulse? Can I do that? And it was just used last night as an indication of how callous and cruel and how despicable these people are. So let's watch it. Let's see the video. And then, I've got some thoughts on it, so I'll share those with you.
I go check a pulse.
No, back up, now.
I'm a physician.
Hey, listen. We got EMS coming. I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Where are they? How can I relax? You just killed my fucking neighbor.
All right. So that's the woman that was going crazy. That's the woman that's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? How can I relax? You just killed my neighbor. So how does she know she's a neighbor? Does she know this woman? Is this in fact the wife? Why would she describe her as a neighbor if it was her wife? So I don't know. So maybe this is not. Maybe this is not. All right, but I do want to, let's continue with this. Again, this is a doctor supposedly asking to have access to the victim.
Can I go check a pulse?
No, back up, now.
I'm a physician.
Hey, listen. We got EMS coming. I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Where are they? How can I relax? You just killed my fucking neighbor. You caught fire in the fucking face. You killed my fucking neighbor. How do you show up to work every day? How the fuck do you do this every day? You're killing my neighbors. You're stealing my neighbors. What the fuck, man?
All right. There we have it. That is the video
I'm a physician.
of a physician demanding access. And maybe demanding is the wrong. He's a physician, Hippocratic oath, and what? You see something, you got to go. Here's my problem with this and the way it was presented and the way it was talked about. We don't know that guy's a physician. We don't know what the fuck is going on. All hell has just broken loose. Something terrible has occurred. And again, I am not one of these people who just looks at these guys who cash these federal paychecks as being monsters. I think they're doing and acting on monstrous orders. But I don't think these guys are in the fray right now. Something fucked up has just happened, and there is a crowd growing, and people are screaming at them. Under what circumstance would you let some stray from the crowd have access to the body? That's not a thing. I don't know that he's a doctor just because some guy who's being filmed says, I'm a doctor. I mean, if I wanted to be super cynical, I could say that would be a way that the left could concoct something. Hey, let me get you. You say there's no way they're going to let any of us access, the scene or the body, but say you're a doctor and then that'll go viral. And then we'll be able to say they wouldn't even let a doctor try to. We don't know he's a doctor. We don't know what the hell is going on. The other woman, by the way, is acting completely unhinged. Rightfully so, or whatever. What has happened is not excusable. But these officers are now on point. They're staying frosty. They're looking around. They have no idea what's going to happen next because this just occurred. So the idea that they're not just going to let some rando from the crowd access the body is not an indication that they didn't have any kind. No, it's just police work at that point. But it looks bad, and if you're trying to show the point, look at what monsters they are. This doctor, we don't know that he's a doctor. More to the point, that dude with the gun doesn't know that he's a doctor. He's just saying he's a doctor. Hell, a lot of people have said a lot of things to him. Is it a fucked up, sick situation where we wish we could allow people that if he was a doctor that he could have gone into? Yes, of course. But it is understandable, given the fray of the moment, why they didn't just let randos with cameras go near the body minutes or seconds, really, after this occurred. And the woman screaming about blah, 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 she's not ratcheting it down. She's not, there doesn't seem from her to be any concern really about the woman as much as she is using this as an opportunity to, this is a good thing for us, for our side. They killed somebody. You fuck. I mean, there's no crying. There's no, oh my God, oh my God. I mean, that is not the reaction that I think I would have had I seen something like this go on. I'm not angry at the police in that moment. I will be later, but in this moment, I'm trying to figure out what happened to this human being. Not her. She's still into the, politics of it or whatever. Stop it. Stop it in this moment. And it's, it's the heat of the moment kind of a thing. But as I said, as I laid out for you just a couple of minutes ago, it'll all blow over because it's a white woman. She's a lesbian and she's a poet. And I'm sorry, but your aunt in Nebraska can't relate to that shit. Adam. So you're saying they were just following what? No, what I'm saying is that they were probably following. I like the point, though. I do like the point. Points to Adam for that. No, what I'm saying is that in the heat of battle, when this shit is going on, when you don't know what just occurred, crowd control is probably the most important thing. And I think they were falling back into that. That's all I'm saying. Adam also says, here we go. He's saying, man, you're cynical. She's concerned about a human life and she's shocked and using her voice to speak her power. Yeah, I fucking am cynical. How are you not cynical, Adam? That's what I would say. How are you not cynical? Good Lord, everybody needs to be cynical. We need to be skeptical of everything because truth doesn't matter anymore. 20 years ago, Stephen Colbert coined the phrase truthiness. Truthiness is about to be added to our Constitution, I think. That's how far we've come. Cynical? Man, you're cynical. Why aren't you? That's not a good look. If you're not cynical, if you don't see... All right. Oh yeah, here. Now this is an interesting one. This is somebody who actually does live in the neighborhood and he defines himself as a very conservative person. I saw him twice yesterday. I saw him on local Fox 9. And then I guess this is from MSNBC or MS Now. Sorry, we don't call it MSNBC anymore. But there's a dude that lives in the neighborhood. Again, he is not against ICE and he considers himself quite conservative. But he witnessed it, so let's see what this non-screaming libtard has to say about what went down in his neighborhood.
8:30 this morning, I was just getting up and I heard a bunch of commotion and whistling outside, and then I heard bang, 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 3 shots. I went to go look out the window, and it looked like there's a Honda over there that crashed, and I found out it was an observer that got shot and killed, and I saw them carry it. I got a bunch of video of them carrying the body to a ambulance and stuff. So there's an observer that got shot at an ICE raid at the house next door.
I'm sure that was a scary thing to witness.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty right-leaning, but seeing this is not what you need to do. This is not how to do it. It's not how we're supposed to do things around here in America. So.
What was how many agents and other people were here when that
when it first started, there was maybe 20, but now there's hundreds. I mean, they got everybody out, so it's kind of crazy right now.
What's it been like seeing all of this?
Kind of scary. I lived during the riots in 2020, so it's kind of paralleling that right now. It's kind of same feeling. Hoping it doesn't, but it's getting a little rowdy.
All right, there you have it. So it's not good. It's just not good. It doesn't matter what your political ideology is or how you vote. It's just not good. This is not what we do in America. We don't have a bunch of unmarked black SUVs suddenly pull up in a neighborhood, kick in a door, and start dragging. We don't do that in America. We have a process. And again, I'll go back to what I said yesterday. In the beginning, I think all reasonable people, the 70% of us, all of us are horrified when we hear these stories about the illegal immigrant who rapes the college student and murders her and they find her body. We're all horrified by that. But that does not define the illegal immigrant. Now, I know that you're all big on laws. When it's against the law to be here illegally. Doesn't seem to apply when you're casting a vote for president. But in this instance, you're all about the letter of the law. Well, if they're here illegally, they're criminals. Yeah, but they're not violent criminals. Well, they're still criminals. You people are so fucking hypocritical. 37 goddamn felony convictions against a guy that you campaigned for, walking around wearing his red hat. But now you're going to talk about how, well, they're here illegally. You know why? Because you've been able to convince yourself that the entire system, when it's applied to your guy, is fucking bullshit, but not when it's applied to people who are seeking the American dream. That's a thing on you. That's a you thing. So stop it. There are people who have been living in your neighborhood, who have been serving the community, who have been paying fucking taxes, who have putting kids through school for generations. And these are the people who are getting dragged out of their fucking homes. Not the guy with the fucking teardrop tattoo who's been in 15 different convicted gang things. No, because those fuckers are hard to find. What you do is you're going after the low-hanging fruit. The people who are in the system, the people who aren't hiding, the people who are applying to the government for, special Dreamer Acts and all that. That's who you're going after, and that's what we're rejecting. And anybody who has a problem with that is an asshole. I can't even have the argument with you. Nobody disagrees that we got to get these fucking drug dealers and these criminals and these people who come to this, they're emptying their jails. That is not the vast majority of people who are coming here. The vast majority of people who are coming here, and this is a fact, are the best people from those countries. If you grow up on a fucking hillside favela somewhere in Central America, and you have the get up and go to leave everything behind, to track all the way across Mexico to get to a border, to swim under a fence, you're not coming here to steal hubcaps. You're one of the best people from that place who looked around and said, I want something better, and I'm a determined and I'm an ambitious person, and I'm going to go do it. That's what most of these people are. That's why you drive around any Mexican neighborhood in Dallas or in Chicago. These neighborhoods are gorgeous. These people own their homes. These people paint their houses. These people have pride in their community. And these are the people who we are rounding up because Donald Trump wanted bigger numbers. Remember that? In the very beginning, these ICE raids were focused on people that were involved with gangs and drug deals and, all that. They were going to courts and they were arresting, people, known criminals who just happened to be due at court that day. That's how they were doing it. But Trump didn't like the numbers. The numbers weren't impressive enough for him. So he said, step it up. And that's when they started ripping moms out of carpool lines. It's all about the numbers because it's all about the optics, because it's all about stirring up hateful people. That's what this is. And if we, the 70%, don't start calling this bullshit out, we're going to lose the entire country. Thank you. Thank you. If we haven't already. Apropos of absolutely nothing, Frankie Boy's in the chat room. Oh my God. There's a lot of people in the chat room. Where's the Frank that wanted to put the Frank thing up? That was a night. I can't navigate this restream. This restream is just such a shitty fucking. Frank's in the chat room. He wants to know my take on Stranger Things. I don't have a take on it. I'm not a teenage girl. It doesn't fit the category of Mrs. Maisel, right? I'll watch Mrs. Maisel even though I am not in the demographic. I'm not watching Stranger Things. I don't give a shit about Stranger Things. If I had a teen daughter, I might watch it. I thought maybe when my kid was here for a week, my 16-year-old boy, I go, hey, I don't know, you want to watch a couple episodes of the last season of Stranger Things? And he turned to me and he goes, that show sucks. And I'm like, okay, all right, so I guess I'll never see Stranger Things. I tried to watch it. I watched the first couple of seasons. I'll tell you, the first season of Stranger Things was really good. The second season, was that the one where they went to the mall? Whatever the season was, where it was set in an 80s mall, I jumped out. I was like, this is fucking dumb. Nobody had haircuts like that. They didn't talk like that. This is so bad. Duffer Brothers. They're not from the 80s. Bunch of people raised in the 90s trying to create a TV show that's, relevant or not relevant. Well, it is relevant. Stranger Things is very relevant. It's not accurate. It's like, that's not how it is. It's not how it was. Anyway, I bailed out in the mall season. I was like, this is stupid. What hell is under the mall? What the fuck is going? I don't like Stranger Things. I reject it. I reject Stranger Things. Even though I do know a lot of people who like it. A lot of people who I respect. They say they like it. Barney, here you go. Barney, so convenient. You can pick and choose. It's what's great about being Barney. You can just pick and choose whatever. A kangaroo court. Okay, dude. Okay. You're broken. You're broken, Barney. Kangaroo court. Trump's totally innocent. Look at him. He would never do anything. What's the matter with you? You can't be that broken, Barney. Kangaroo court. Fucking guy should have been convicted of 100 things. They only got him on 37. Kangaroo court. He's really nice. He's a nice, honest businessman. He's never done anything. What the fuck? Kangaroo court. Thank you for stirring me up. Adam is, well, I'm cynical of institutions, not humans. Well, that's your fucking error. That is your fucking error, because institutions are fucked up because of humans, Adam. It's time to start putting the onus on your fellow human being to be fucking better. And you know what Adam is? Adam is a democratic liberal. And this is what I've always said is the problem between the two parties. The disconnect between the two parties is this. Democratic liberals are legislating for the world we want. We're going to pass a law where everybody has to smile first thing in the morning. And if you don't smile, you're going to jail. It's a law. Because we want the world to be smiley and happy. Meanwhile, the fucking Republicans actually legislate for the world of today with issues that they can win and will resonate with regular people. But the Democrats are out there going, we think that, a guy should be able to box a woman if that guy says he's now a woman. Fucking shut up. That would be a wonderful world, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be a wonderful world if everybody was mandated to be accepting of people and their shortcomings? That would be wonderful, but that ain't the fucking world we're in. Adam, people suck. People have the potential to be good. We've seen that, but rank and file people suck. They're selfish. They're stupid. They don't do what's in their best interest. They do what they think rises their position among the mob. That's what we do. Groupthink, hive mind, whatever you want. Adam's out here going, humans. Oh, shut up. It's time to get tough on our fellow human. It's time to start calling them out. Being idiots. I'm a minority, you dork. I believe in incremental actual change. I aspire to more, yes. But you have such a fundamental misunderstanding of my politics. No, I don't. I've known you for years. I know you. I know that Adam and I agree on a whole lot of stuff. And I also know that we disagree on a whole lot of stuff. I don't have a fundamental misunderstanding of your politics. I think you're kind of racist. I think you're one of the most racist people I know. Because you, Adam, hate white people. And you have been very, And somehow you think you're indemnified to be able to take shots or criticize any white person for being anything. Now, I don't dislike Adam. I've known Adam for 20 years. I like Adam. I love my friends who have all of these little quirks and stuff. But if I had to make a list of my most racist friends, Adam would certainly be at the top of it. And then Byron and Barney and, the rest of them. But Adam is there too. Can't just hate white people because you're not white. That's the definition of racism. You being a minority doesn't excuse you being a racist. Or, you know what? I'm sorry, Adam, because this is something that we need to stop doing. You're not a racist. Racism is a really specific thing about somebody. You're a bigot. You're a bigot. Adam is a bigot. That's what you are. You're just a bigot. You can be fixed. I know you don't hate me. I'm a white man, although you do kind of hate everything that I say. I don't know. We all have preconceived notions. We all, trying to think of any preconceived notions that I have that would make me a bigot and not a racist. I lock my doors in bad neighborhoods. If I drive through, I live on the south side of Chicago. I try not to take streets that are going to have me at long stoplights. When I have to drive through a neighborhood, I keep my fucking doors locked. I run out every now and again and just look on my car outside. Why? Because I know that the kinds of people who are in this neighborhood from time to time might engage in some of those activities. Does that make me a racist? No. I think it makes me a racist. I think it makes me somebody who understands the lay of the land. I think it makes me somebody who doesn't exist in a world that I want to exist, but a person who exists in the world that actually is. You can be aspirational with that view. I'm very aspirational. I think the world that we are in is absolute garbage, and I aspire to see change, positive change, and I think that that's always on the docket. But we're not there. The world is terrible. Sir, we need to stop with the pie in the sky, looking at Rainbow's bullshit about how things are so good. We can be good to each other. No, we can't. We have been radicalized over the past 50 years to see everybody as something different than what we are. Sometimes we're aligned with those groups. Sometimes we're not. All right, moving on. I'm ranting now about all of that stuff. All right, what else do we have? All right, we got John Miller from CNN. He was talking about how this is, here's the problem. We're going to play this John Miller clip. John Miller, I love John Miller. John Miller, I've been watching John Miller on A&E bios for years. He's always used to run like the anti-mob thing in New York or something. I mean, he's put a lot of gangsters in jail. And if you like all the gangster content they used to air on A&E, then you're familiar with John Miller. Now he's a regular. He's a chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst. He had this to say about what he viewed. John Miller's legit, man. John Miller's been doing this.
We did this in New York in 1994, 95. We changed it in LAPD when I was there in 2004. But it's basically simple, which is if you're confronted by a moving vehicle that could be a threat to you, get out of the way of the vehicle and don't shoot at a car. Now, this is DHS policy. I'm reading to you from DHS policy.
All right. This is important. He is reading the Department of Homeland Security policy on this particular situation. What do you do when somebody lurches their car?
DHS law enforcement officers are prohibited from discharging firearms at the operator of a moving vehicle or other conveyance unless the use of deadly force basically it says, unless it's...
It appears to be black and white.
Well, it does. And it also says a law enforcement officer must take into consideration the hazards that may be posed to law enforcement and innocent bystanders by an out-of-control vehicle, which we just saw the result of that. The point is, unless the person is literally either using the vehicle to ram other people in a terrorist attack, or has a car bomb, or is chasing you with the vehicle in particular, getting out of the way and reducing the tactical exigency where you're not creating a situation where you're forced to fire these shots is what most law enforcement agencies have adopted.
And very clear that that's what was there.
It's missing.
All right, there you go. He said it there at the end. It's what most law enforcement agencies have adopted. Now, remember, he was reading directly from the Department of Homeland Security handbook on how to handle these situations. Here's the problem. That dude wasn't Department of Homeland Security. He was ICE, and ICE has a completely different handbook, especially a new one that was just created within the last year. By the way, people wondering, they're like, well, these ICE guys, they're not qualified. Well, the new hires are definitely not qualified. The new hires, funnily enough, they have to go through so let's say you're the security guard at the Dunkin' Donuts, and you see this ad for ICE, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go get a job with ICE. So you go and you get a job with ICE. 47 days of training. 47 days of training to be an ICE officer. You know why it's 47 days? It's 47 days because Trump is the 47th president. So 40, that's all we need. It's like, we don't know if that's enough. We don't know if that's too little. We don't know if that's too much. 47, though, was the number chosen, the number of days of training. Why? Because it would make the president smile. We like it when we can play to his ego. Fucking that's stupid. Anyway, it does need to be said. It doesn't apply to this guy. This guy is a 10-year veteran of DHS and ICE. He was working under the banner of ICE. However, he is a former Department of Homeland Security officer, so he should know, 10 years he was on that job, so he should know the, rules of engagement, if you will. Looked at me like, again, I know what I saw. We'll do this again. I'll add another one. I always say this with January 6th. I know what I saw. I know what I saw. I sat and watched that all day. I watched people scaling the outside walls. I watched fires breaking out. I saw someone build a fucking guillotine. That was real. We saw it all. It wasn't the peaceful tourism that, but whatever. I know what I saw. I know what I saw yesterday. I saw a cop who lost his shit and murdered a woman who was not behaving properly, but still, murder or 3 shots to the face should not be the judgment for the way she was behaving. But it was, and now we're here. And now everybody's got to figure out all of the things that happened that caused that tragedy to occur. A lot of shit happened. But yeah, okay? So you're not supposed to fire at a car unless it meets the criteria that John Miller just shared there. Interestingly enough, this fucking dude was hit by another car like 6 months ago. This guy had the same situation. He didn't fire, but he was bumped and hit by a car. Can we also talk about the president and his Truth Social post yesterday, which said that he was praying? Is he praying for the life of the officer who was in the hospital? The president of the United States flat out lied to you people. He didn't lie to me because I know he's fucking full of shit and I don't believe anything he says. But no, you people, you Byron and Barney and all, he just fucking lied to you. He told you, he manipulated the situation so that you think that you need to get on your knees and pray for that poor police officer, Border Patrol, whatever he was, ICE. You need to pray for him because he was in the hospital, Trump said. Fucking dude didn't go to the hospital. It's a flat out lie. And you people just accept that. You're like, well, whatever. He lies. So why are you okay with the person who is supposed to be guiding this nation to be a fucking endless liar? He lies about everything. Jesus fucking Christ. The guy wasn't in the hospital. There are no records of him going to the hospital. And he sure as shit wasn't in the hospital for the night. He's resting comfortably with his family. Fuck you. He's at the bar with his buddies. He didn't get hurt. He is seen after it walking. He's fine. He's absolutely fine. But the president needed to manipulate you. Again, not us, not the rest of us who know everything he says is bullshit. That lie was specifically for you people, the Kool-Aid drinkers, who just can't get enough of hearing whatever you want to hear, whether it's true or not. That's a serious flaw in your soul. Barney, I'm sorry. Barney says policy gets you fired, but it's not law. No, it's not. This guy didn't do anything. Nothing's gonna happen to this guy. Absolutely nothing's gonna happen to this guy. He didn't break the law. He's just a bad cop. He's just not good at his job. He lost his shit and he murdered someone, shot a woman, shot a lesbian poet in the face 3 times because she didn't do what he said. All right. And we've emboldened people with this character deficiency. We've emboldened them with badges and guns and told them to go kick in doors in neighborhoods and grab Rosalita. All right, so this brings us to the next question, which is something that the president is lying about as well. The big question of the day, and I think that we all as citizens need to understand where the law currently sits on this. The question being, can we record law enforcement? Can we, if we see a situation going on, can we just head out there on the street, whip out our phone and start documenting what's happening? The short answer is abso-fucking-lutely yes. That is protected by not only the Constitution of the United States, but 7 federal courts have all weighed in on this. Now, the only reason that Trump feels emboldened to put out tweets that say it's illegal to do this, see, Trump is telling his stupid people that this is illegal. Meanwhile, the rest of us are like, yeah, that's not illegal. He's just lying again. Why do you want the general public not to be able to document the actions of your thugs? Tell me why that's a problem for you. The reason he's able to say this and have a little bit of standing is because the Supreme Court has yet to weigh in on this issue. However, it's been challenged recently. This Bovino guy, do you know Bovino? He's like, he's going to go down and hit that name. That name, this guy, he's a historical figure. He is going to be seen as the lead SS agent in charge when, the books are written about this. But Bovino has gone to court numerous times in Chicago, in Memphis. He's gone to court numerous times about this thing that they're stopping people from recording. All 7 federal courts that have weighed in on this have said that is a protected right of every citizen to monitor the actions of their police force. Trump says it's illegal, though. What do you want to record what the police are doing for? What do you want to record? What the fuck is wrong with you people? You got to take the good with the bad. Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of idiots out there causing all kinds of problems by recording and posting and talking shit. But you know what? Be thicker skinned. Be thicker skinned. For fuck's sake, you have mandated laws. And isn't it a federal law now that municipal police have to wear body cams? I know that the ICE agents are required to wear body cams. They weren't, by the way, but that's okay because it's just a construct. It's just... Oh, yeah, all federal agents have to have body cams. Did they have body cams? Nah, not one of them. They were all turned off. So what's going to happen? Because they have to have body cams working, and they didn't have body cams working. So what's going to happen? Nothing. Nothing. Construct. Pay your taxes. Fuck you. Construct. All right, let's keep going here. What else do we have? I'm worked up. Okay, so here you go. On the Can You Record Police, the Cato Institute, which is a think tank, smart people. They have weighed in on this. The Cato Institute senior fellow Walter Olson points out that while the Supreme Court itself hasn't yet faced this issue squarely, 7 federal circuits that have done so all agree that the First Amendment protects the rights to record police performing their duties in public. Likewise, federal circuits have upheld the right to use vulgar language to oppose police without fear of retaliation. So you can say, fucking pig, fuck you, and you can record it all, and you're completely legal. And that's the way it should be. You should be able to talk shit to people, right? This is what everybody, all the motherfuckers on Twitter, they're all like, this is the First Amendment fight. But meanwhile, when the First Amendment is used for things you don't agree with, all of a sudden it's like, don't let them record police. You're unbelievable, MAGA. You are absolutely unbelievable. Fucking modern American Nazi party. That's the, as far as the mental gymnastics and the mental manipulation that you're doing, you haven't built any caps or put anybody there yet. You haven't started a world war, but I feel like that's coming. But yeah, you're on that path, MAGA, with your mindless fucking whatever he says is the law. Fucking civics classes. That's it. You know what it is? You know what it is? It's millennials. I thought about this over the weekend. I'm like, how did we fucking get here? We got here because of millennials. Millennials are the first generation of American who went through school without any form of civics classes. You know, here comes Pugs talking about civics again. But civics made you understand that you had to vote. You were required as a citizen of this country to get involved in the process. And then millennials come along and the voter rolls dropped off by like 50%, which is ultimately what they wanted because they want just a smaller voter turnout so that they can manipulate those people. They don't want everybody from all walks of life voting because you can't control that fucking mess. Democracy is complicated. So what you do is you discourage people from taking part in the political process. And this happened to the millennials. And now we've got a whole bunch of 45-year-old millennials wearing fucking red hats, tearing down. Anyway, you don't know what your job is as an American. Fucking 45-year-old millennials going, you can't record the police. You motherfucking can. Do you know anything about the First Amendment? Yeah, I do, because I like Elon Musk, and he tells me all about the First Amendment. Fuckers. Open your eyes, open your minds, take it back, ask questions. These people are not your friends. They're not the football team that you root for, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. And again, I'm still looking for a good one. I don't know. I can't find a good one. I need someone to rise up from the ashes. I don't care if they're a fucking conservative from Iowa or a liberal from California. Just somebody rise up and strike me as a decent person. Where is our Mr. Smith? So you can record police. Keep doing it. Here is a word to the wise, though. They are arresting people for recording the police. This is the difficulty that we have to face every time we are in a situation where the cop is asking us questions. Anytime we have an interaction with a cop, this is the unfortunate reality. We have to just, whatever he wants in that moment. I tell my kid he's a new driver. I'm like, dude, you get pulled over and that cop walks up, your hands are on the steering wheel and you are, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, sir, no, sir. No bullshit, no attitude. Smiles. Why? Why do we do this in the interactions with police? Well, it's very simple. Because the next 12 hours of our life is very important to us. And we don't want to spend it being processed at the local jail on charges that will immediately be dropped. Because cops have the ability to fuck the next 12 hours of your life up. And cops are doing that now. People are recording and they're like, you can't stop me from recording. And then they take the camera and they put them in cuffs. And they know while they're doing this that these charges aren't going to stick. But guess who gets to take a ride in handcuffs? And guess who gets to spend the next 10 hours being processed through some county jail? The person who stood up for their rights. So they can't fuck with you. It will be dropped. But then what's your recourse? Oh, you can sue them for false arrest? Good luck. Good luck. That ain't a real thing. That isn't going to happen unless you end up with a broken spine. So you got to fucking placate these cops. You got to, in the moment, they hold all the power. Yes, sir. No, sir. Unless you don't care about the next 12 hours. You can be that guy. You can be like, yeah, fuck you. What are you going to do? I can do this. And then you're going to trigger some fucking pea-brained cop. And he's going to go, I got my cuffs. And he's going to put you in cuffs. And the next 12 hours of your life are fucked up. Don't worry. You won't have to get a lawyer or go to court because the charges will be absolutely bullshit. And the district attorney will be like, this is dismissed. We can't fucking prosecute this. But your day is shot. You're fucked up. Oh, God forbid you do that at like 4:00 in the afternoon on a Friday because you're spending the whole weekend in jail. Yeah, you be extra nice to cops at 4:45 because if he's looking to run you for something, he will. Doesn't matter if it'll stick. If he wants to fuck with you, he can. Trump and Kristi Noem would like you to know that you don't have the right. It's illegal. You're breaking the law if you try and film federal agents or law enforcement doing their job. Just the president of the United States and Kristi Noem, old hot pants, old God, she can, her and Boebert, Kristi Noem and Boebert can really wear a pair of jeans. They really can. Let's see here. Oh, this is interesting. I want to show this from the other day. Here's Stephen Miller. This made some news yesterday, and I wanted to talk about it. Stephen Miller, that ghoul. How the fuck does he get Katie Miller? I don't get it. Katie Miller, if they weren't like in Washington, if they were just two people who worked at the same fucking mortgage firm, she would never look at this guy. This guy is like a ghoul. The only reason that I don't call Stephen Miller Nosferatu is because Rudy Giuliani looks just a little bit more like Nosferatu than Stephen Miller does. But here you go. Let's listen to what Stephen Miller says. This was a couple of days ago. He was on Jake Tapper. This is I think I described this as a rat fighting a snake. Both of these people are absolute garbage human beings. Stephen Miller is explaining. Now remember, Stephen Miller is about as close to President Trump. Trump does what Stephen Miller says. Stephen Miller is, as far as foreign affairs goes, he is the end all be all to Trump. So here's what Stephen Miller has to say about the action in El Salvador. And the great thing about Stephen Miller is that he don't give a fuck. He's a monster, and he doesn't care that everybody hears him being a monster. But let's listen to this exchange from the other day with him and the equally reprehensible Jake Tapper.
The United States is using its military to secure our interests unapologetically in our hemisphere. We're a superpower, and under President Trump, we are going to conduct ourselves as a superpower. It is absurd that we would allow a nation in our own backyard to become the supplier of resources to our adversaries, but not to us, to hoard weapons from our adversaries, to be able to be positioned as an asset against the United States rather than on behalf of the United States.
Sovereign countries shouldn't be able to do what they want to do.
The Monroe Doctrine and the Trump Doctrine is all about securing the national interests of America. For years, we sent our soldiers to die in deserts in the Middle East to try to build them parliaments, to try to build them democracies, to try to give them more oil, to try to give them more resources. The future of the free world, Jake, depends on America being able to assert ourselves and our interests without apology. This whole period that happened after World War II, where the West began apologizing and groveling and begging
I don't even
and
know,
engaging these
honestly,
mass
what you're talking
reparation
about right
schemes.
now.
What I'm talking about, Jake, is the idea. And by the way, you do. I know you love doing that smarmy thing, Jake, and I was hoping to do better than that this time.
I asked you about if there should be an election.
Exactly.
I asked you if there would be an election in Venezuela. That's what I asked. I said, why was the president so quick to dismiss Machado? You answered that question. And then I said,
the objective, Jake, is security and stability for the people of Venezuela.
All right, there you have it. That's rat versus snake. You decide which is which. Here's why I wanted to play that. How do I phrase this properly? He just said it out loud. He simply said it out loud. People reacted poorly to it because we don't like to hear it put like that because he's got no nuance and he's just a big fucking bull in a china shop. He doesn't know how to fucking speak graciously. He's just, he's Goebbels. He's just a fucking, we will do this, and we will, so that's how it comes out. So that, the vibe, the energy, but he said it. He said exactly what I have been saying here. He didn't put it in context the way that I do. He said exactly what I've been saying. This is who we are, folks. This is what we decided years and years ago during the Cold War, that we, the United States, knew how to run the world better than everyone else. And in order to do that for the perceived global safety of all the good people of Earth, we would take it upon ourselves to be the arbiter of what is and what isn't right. We made that decision. And then somebody said, well, how do we do that? And they said, well, we've got to have the most ass-kicking defense and military the world has ever seen. We need to be able to bow up to other countries and have them back down because of the sheer awe inspired by our defense and military. That's how we're going to do it. And then somebody said, how are we going to pay for that? And then he said, well, we're going to gut education and we're going to gut medical care. People are going to be stupid, and they're going to be easier to manipulate if they're stupid. So we're going to gut public education. We're going to take all of that money. We're going to build bombs and planes. That's what I've been saying forever. We made the deal. I don't agree with the deal. I think the deal is horrible, but pieces of shit made that deal 60 years ago, and the ship has fucking sailed. We've got a country of stupid, poorly educated public school kids and people who died broke in a pool of piss in their Econo apartment in 90. That's what we got. And what do we have to show for it? The world's most badass fucking military. So Stephen Miller is just simply saying that part out loud. He's saying we, the United States, are the arbiter of what is right and what is wrong. And people freaked out when he said that. Not me. I said, well, isn't that a delight? Somebody is actually fucking saying what we have been quietly kind of putting across to the world for the last 60 fucking years. So maybe we stop it now. Maybe hearing it from that ghoul makes people go, oh, we need to just radically change our entire position on this because we can't be the world's police force. Meanwhile, the same people who vote for these extraordinary defense budgets and allocations and all of this shit, the very same people who are all for, let's build more bombs, these very same people are also the ones who are going around now going, we're not interventionists. We don't get involved. No wars. The whole Neocon, Classicon, MAGA, that whole world, you guys are all over the fuck. You don't know what you want. But yeah, that's what Stephen Miller just did there. He said the part that I've been saying, that this is who we are, like it or not. And I don't fucking like it, but we're here. Again, the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats live in the world they want to live in. Wouldn't it be nice if everything was happy and people were good and everything worked out? Let's make laws because someday we're going to be like that. No, Republicans are like, the world is a fucking cesspool and we need big giant fucking bombs. And I'm not saying that's right either. I'm just saying one is reactionary to truth and the other is aspirational and fantasy based. That's what we're dealing with. All right. Sorry. Leslie, you and I agree. He is a monster. But also, here's the thing about Stephen Miller. He's an absolute monster. He needs to be taken out in the alley and just someone needs to kick the shit. Not someone, like 4 or 5 people need to kick the shit out of Stephen Miller. Break his jaw, kick his teeth in. Just need to fuck him up bad. And then it'll take him about 3-4 months to recover. When he's done recovering, we do it again. Every couple of months, guys like this need to be grabbed off the streets. You want to talk, you MAGA, you really want to go Nazi? Let's go that direction. Let's just start, but you want to do it to your own people. And maybe the radical Dems will. Yeah, maybe that'll be a radical. Maybe when President, who's the radical Dem president? When Madam President Ileana Omar is in charge, yeah, you can expect Stephen Miller to be snatched off the streets of Manhattan and taken into some fucking dungeon. That'll be the one good thing about the reign of President Ileana Omar. Again, see, that's another example of somebody who seems to have outsourced influence within the Democratic Party, somebody whose influence should be marginalized because she doesn't appeal to anybody outside of her community or the Hollywood Filmmakers Association. Oh, she's wonderful. She's an immigrant. She wears the weird towel around her head, and that doesn't sell in fucking Arkansas, okay? So let's stop making these polarizing individuals of truly unique sensibilities the fucking cross-bearer of the Democratic Party. I want an effective opposition party, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. All right, let's see. Where else are we going? What else? Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Do I want to do this? Nah, I don't want to do this. Yeah, okay, we'll do this one. Let's talk about Megyn Kelly. We mentioned her earlier. We got some video here. I want to play this video. This is another example of, it's a sign of autism. It is a sign of autism. I don't want to we'll just play it. All right. This is Megyn Kelly. Let's just listen to what Megyn Kelly says, because I have some thoughts on this.
I have seen what happens when you cheerlead unabashedly U.S. intervention in foreign countries, thinking it's for our good and for the international good, only to wind up with what we've called quagmire in places like Iraq. Not to mention...
All right, first of all, why the fuck is she dressed like the Catwoman? Can somebody explain this? Why is she fucking dressed like she's in a Christopher Nolan movie?
Yeah. We're not great at going into these foreign countries, decapitating them at the leadership level, and then saying either we're going to steer the country to a better place or it's going to steer itself. Either one. They just... 9 times out of 10, they don't work out well. And what does it mean in terms of boots on the ground? Trump is saying, I'm actually fine with that in Venezuela. Well, whose boots? Because I have a 16-year-old boy, and I have a 12-year-old boy, and I have a 14-year-old girl. And a lot of my listeners have children, too, who are actually the ones who might have to fill the boots. So I think I speak for a lot of moms and dads, for that matter, when I say I'm staying in yellow territory. Until we know more. And I will not be joining the Fox News cheerleading brigade this time.
No!
I've been burned too many times.
All right, there she is. That's the Catwoman, Megyn Kelly. She is breaking from the Trump administration, and she is letting it be known that she is not in agreement with the Fox News, blah, 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 whatever the fuck Catwoman was talking about there. Let me tell you something that struck me in that. Megyn Kelly has been one of the most stalwart of, and by the way, this comes after, Trump was like, she's fucking getting her period out of her eyes. You remember that? Remember when she was the moderator back when she was kind of normal? Although she was always had that Fox News stench on her, but she was kind of normal and she was doing the debate and she asked a question Trump didn't like and he's like, your eyes are bleeding or whatever he said. It was real insulting. And then because, it was like, he insulted her. She had to pretend like she was insulted for like a couple of weeks. She's like, it was terrible. And then Trump rose and she's like, oh, fuck. He's really powerful and he hates me. So now I got to kiss his ass. And then she kissed his ass. And then suddenly she got back into like the MAGA good graces. And now here we go. We're going after Venezuela. We're saber rattling at Iran, at Russia, at Cuba, at Greenland. We're doing all of this. Now she's breaking. Megyn Kelly is breaking. Why? We heard her reason. What is her reason now for breaking from these draconian measures that have been forced upon us now for a full year? What is her reason? Oh, it affects her personally. Oh, this affects her personally. She's a fucking spectrum rider. That is like hardcore autistic. If you can only relate to things, if your empathy has a limit, if it's not immediately concerning you or your well-being, that means that you lack the ability to care for others. She's only breaking from Trump here because she's got a fucking 16-year-old. What a piece of shit. Say it loud, say it proud, you dumb bitch. Megyn fucking Kelly cosplaying as the Catwoman. She doesn't care about sending look, if it was something different, she doesn't care about any of the other stuff that affect people in this country, any of the other bullshit that she has carried a fucking banner for. But now in this particular one, I've got a 16-year-old, so I'm out. I'm out. Who's with me? It's just terrible. They're not even hiding it anymore. It's just a terrible kind of instinct to be so public about. She doesn't even know how bad that looks or sounds because she's autistic, because she's just another person who is on that spectrum. We're seeing this a lot now. I am convinced that a good 60% of American citizens are somewhere on the spectrum. The lack of empathy, the lack of understanding, the lack of being able to read a room is staggering. However, if 60% of them are like that, then the room is like that. So maybe they're fine, and maybe we're the ones that are fucked up. Maybe. Warner Brothers Discovery, remember we've been talking about this. They're like the hot bitch at the media ball. They're the Warner Brothers Discovery walking in. Who is that? Says Netflix. Oh my God, I gotta get me some, says Paramount Skydance. Netflix. They made a move that shocked everybody a couple of weeks ago. Warner Brothers Discovery was in play. It was expected that Paramount and now Skydance, they've merged. Skydance is the Ellison family. Paramount of course, television production in a massive library of all kinds of classic TV shows and movies, films, Paramount Films. That's what Paramount is. Skydance makes new movies for theatrical release. So they've come together. They're doing their thing. Paramount Skydance, they took a look at Warner Brothers Discovery walking into that media party and they went, ooh, I want some of that. And they started telling everybody they were going to get some of that. So the story became, hey, did you hear? Paramount Skydance is banging Warner Brothers Discovery. No, they're not. I heard that she's dating Netflix. And then sure enough, out of nowhere, old Reed from Netflix, he slides in and he's like, hey, look at my new girlfriend, Warner Brothers Discovery. Paramount Skydance is over in the corner going, what the fuck? I thought we were a thing. Warner Brothers Discovery is like, no, I like Netflix more than you, and we're going to go there. Okay, so at that point, Paramount Skydance, they called the president. They called Trump and they're like, wah, wah, wah. I gave you money. Wah, wah, said the Ellison family. So Trump was like, I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to allow Warner Brothers Discovery to go with Netflix. And then everybody was like, Jesus, what does this mean? The president can't fucking get involved in this. This is obviously him just playing favorites. What is going on here? Well, guess what happened today? Warner Brothers Discovery said, yeah, fuck you, President Trump. We're still going with Netflix. You can't do this. We are going with Netflix. I don't care if you think that it'd be a better thing for who the fuck are you, Mr. Bankrupted 6 casinos? Nobody bankrupts casinos. This guy did. The fucking mob ran casinos that made money hand over fist for generations. Everybody got rich, not Trump. Trump can't figure out how to turn a profit on casinos, but now he's going to be in the middle of this major media merger. Which means nothing to him. Anyway, Warner Brothers Discovery and Netflix basically say F off to Paramount and Skydance. Paramount Skydance has guaranteed the backing of billionaire Larry Ellison. Paramount Skydance has guaranteed the backing of billionaire Larry Ellison in its hostile offer to Warner Brothers Discovery, but has fallen short of upping the amount. Warner Brothers Discovery has rebuffed Paramount's latest interest. They've rebuffed prior offers as well. Warner Brothers Discovery has entered into an agreement to sell its streaming and studio business to Netflix. Paramount has been vying to acquire the entirety of Warner Brothers Discovery, including its pay TV networks. And that, my friend, is why President Trump would like Warner Brothers Discovery to go with Larry Ellison's Paramount Skydance. Because you see, Warner Brothers Discovery owns shit like CNN. And Trump would like his friend Larry Ellison to be in charge of things like, well, CNN. That's what he wants to do. He wants to stifle. Warner Brothers Discovery owns actual news services, and Trump would like somehow have control of his most critical news platforms, CNN. So that's why he's involved. But thank God, Warner Brothers Discovery and Netflix are like, yeah, fuck that. We see what's happening. Okay? Screw that. So there you go. It looks like it doesn't matter. They're not afraid of Trump. They're not, Reid Hoffman there is it Reid Hoffman? Or wait. Who's Reid Hoffman? Who is Reid Hoffman? Now I gotta know who Reid Hoffman is. Reid Hoffman is an American entertainer, investor, podcaster, and author, best known for co-founding LinkedIn. Oh, there it is. He's just a different Reid guy. Who's the Netflix? Who runs Netflix? That's what I gotta ask. Oh, it's Ted Sarandos. That's it. Now I got it. All right, never mind. Anyway, thankfully, we're not going to see what everybody feared happening with the takeover of Paramount. Paramount Skydance only. Look, here's all you need to know. Paramount Skydance already runs CBS News. Just Google search CBS News over the past couple of weeks. Just see what's been happening to CBS News since Larry Ellison, buddy of President Trump, has taken over. And they don't want that to happen with CNN. So that's why Netflix to the rescue. Okay. Fake news. They said stuff about me I didn't like. Fake news. as opposed to what? Fox? Newsmax? What do you? Oh, that Trump, I'm sure some of you have, that crazy ass Trump cable news channel that's got like watch the monthly numbers on that. Is it real Truth Talk or whatever? I don't know. It's like a cable network that's all about El Presidente. It's all about fearless leader. Started out, I guess it was doing okay, and now it's like completely in the toilet. Nobody fucking watches it. They've got no money. Is it Chris Ruddy who runs that thing? I know that Chris Ruddy runs Newsmax, but does he also run the real whatever? I don't know. Byron, I'm sure you watch it. I'm sure Byron's one of the 500 people who are tuning into that network in December. That's a good sign. That is a good sign that there isn't this massive, it's a good sign. It's a good sign for us. All right, let's see here. We got a new food pyramid yesterday. A lot of people were talking about it. Food pyramid. I got to take a piss. Guys, I got to take a piss. I'm sorry. Can we do this real quick? Can I just go? Who's Reed Hastings? That's awesome, Adam. Who is Reed Hastings? Is that the guy who created? Yes. Is Reed Hastings the guy who founded and created Netflix, and now it's being run by Ted Sarandos? I think that's it. Thank you, Adam. I think Adam got me straight on that. Okay, and Reed Hoffman though. I'm like, who's that? That's the LinkedIn guy. Guys, I got to pee really bad. I've had to pee since we were watching videos, so it's been a while. So let me do this. Let me take a really quick break. I'm gonna go pee. We'll come back. We got more stuff that we got to talk about. We don't have an executive producer today for the second day. We've received one tip this entire week. It's already Thursday. We've received one tip. It's from Barney, and only me and Barney know what that means. This is so help the fucking show out, man. Jesus. Drop a little something if you can. We'll put that up there. The Venmo and the Cash App. I need to go take a piss. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. All right. Hold on. I'm back. Well, Hold on. Got to do this. Mm-hmm. Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. Okay, there you go. Probably be helpful if I added the camera. That would work. That would help. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Yes, Big Luke, I had to take a tinkle break. I am sorry, but that does happen. Excuse me. All right, let's talk about the big thing. What is it? Maha, Make America Healthy Again? I mean, you know, of all of the things that we're being forced to accept as the reality of the now, I suppose an attempt to make us healthier is a good thing. So my mockery of RFK Jr. and all of the fucking heroin that he has shot, the brain worms that he's got, the roadkill that he eats. Yeah, so the guy, doesn't really have this established history of being super healthy, although people will point to the fact that look at how tan and gorgeous he is. He's like 90 and he's like got abs. Yeah, whatever. So he's a workout bro. I mean, that doesn't mean that he's sexy. He's an alcoholic. He's a junkie. He chain smoked cigarettes for 50 years. But okay, that's fine. That's fine. He wants us all to start eating healthier, and I think that's something that any reasonable person can get behind. We should all be healthier. It is. Adam, oh my God, Adam, you think you're taking a shot, or I know you're just being playful. I don't take anything from Adam as a shot. I take it as a trigger to perform. Adam says, it's that old prostate. Damn right it is. Dude, I am left of the slash on all of these things. Left of the slash, of course, being a reference to the Seinfeld episode where Kramer took a car on a test drive that had no gas in it, and he wanted to see how far it would go left of the slash. I am left of the slash as far as my prostate goes. My prostate needs to be checked out, but I do. I have on occasion in recent months gone, wonder if I have a prostate problem. The flow ain't there the way it once was. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? Geez, I pissed next to my kid at the Second City a couple of weeks ago. We both been drinking. He's drinking sodas and stuff. I'm having a couple of beers. So we go to the bathroom after the show, and he's peeing next to me. And it's like standing next to Secretariat. It's like a hose. Meanwhile, I'm shaking, trying to jump up and down. I'm like, come on, let's get it going. So, there's some prostate things going on. Although I would say that, me having to urinate before the show, that's not indicative of any kind of prostate issue. What it is indicative of is the 3 cups of coffee that I power through before I sign on. It's the coffee. The coffee is definitely what makes me piss. Wait. Yeah. Adam says Olivia Nuzzi fell for the RFK thing. She sure did. I think Olivia Nuzzi is so hot. Like, so hot. There is just something so sexy. And if you don't know who Olivia Nuzzi is, she's a disgraced journalist. That's the easiest way to describe her. She is a disgraced journalist who apparently had very few journalistic ethics. She was involved in a relationship with fellow journalist Ryan Lizza. They broke up because she ended up having an affair with not only RFK Jr., but apparently Mark Sanford. Remember that guy? And she is a reporter and a journalist and a writer who got a whole lot of attention very quickly in her career. And I think it's because she's so fucking hot. Like, they put her on the news, and she's got this very East Coast elitist kind of thing. Like Ivanka. You wouldn't walk up to Ivanka Trump in a bar and think that you could flirt with her. She'd be intimidating from the get-go. That's kind of what Nuzzi's got. She's hot. She's just really hot. And she's awful, which is also, kind of hot. She's just an awful person, apparently. So thank you for that. Thank you for the Elizabeth. Olivia Nuzzi did. Did she sleep, Adam? Was that one of the charges that she slept with RFK Jr.? I thought that Olivia Nuzzi, I think they just had Zoom sex. I think they just did I don't know that they ever actually had physical contact. I don't know. Maybe we should ask Cheryl Hines. Say, hey, Cheryl, what do you know about your husband banging that super hot 30-year-old Olivia Nuzzi? She is hot. She's sexy. The best description of her that I heard, it was written in one of these exposés about what a car wreck she is as a journalist, was she was described as the Lana Del Rey of journalism. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. Anyway, let's talk about the food pyramid and Robert Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr. The F is for Fitzgerald, if you didn't know. So we got a new food pyramid yesterday. Of course, doesn't matter. It was blown off the front page because of what happened like an hour later in Minnesota. But so the food pyramid, you know about the food pyramid. No, you don't know about the food pyramid. That was a rhetorical question. It is something that we all understand exists, and we've heard the term before, but there isn't a single one of us who plans our meals according to the food pyramid because it was just more government bullshit that they came up with in the 1970s, and nobody paid attention to it. Food pyramid. Nobody makes it. Well, hold on, Mom. Before you serve dinner, let me get the old government-sanctioned food pyramid out to find out if we're eating properly. We don't do that. That's why we're so goddamn unhealthy. Anyway, RFK, he gave us a new food pyramid. He's like, we've got a new food pyramid. And I think at the top, you've got, what is at the very top? What do they call that? The top of is that called a Luxor? What is the top of a pyramid called? There's something, capstone, I guess. I don't know. So in RFK's new food pyramid, I think cigarettes are like at the very top. And then I think it's beef jerky and then beer. And then as you go further down there at the base, then you got your like grains and I don't know. Nobody pays attention to the food pyramid. Let's look at it. Let's see what the new food pyramid is. So I'm guessing the shit at the top is the good stuff that we're supposed to be eating the most of. And the shit at the bottom is, stuff that we don't really need. Let me see. All right, here we go. Here is the new RFK endorsed food pyramid. Looks like, wait, this is an inverted pyramid. Wait, how does the food pyramid go? Is that how the food pyramid always is? See how little we know about the food pyramid? So what the base, I guess, is the premise of the food pyramid as issued by the federal government is that the base is the most important because it's an inverted pyramid. All right, so this is all good. So right here, turkey, apparently really pushing traditional Thanksgiving. So turkey's good. Turkey's good because it's, it's meat and it's low in fat. I don't know. Turkey's good. Broccoli sucks. You got peas up. You got all the shit that we don't need enough of. Steaks is good. Uh-oh, here come the hiccups. I'm looking at all this food and I'm getting the hiccups. What is this? Is this olive oil? I think that's olive oil. Now, is this like, are they being specific or is this just representative? Like, are they specifically saying eat more pears? Is that what they're saying? Because the pear is playing a prominent role here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm battling hiccups, guys. You know how this goes. I'm trying to beat my hiccups. You know how this goes. I'm trying to beat my hiccups. This is a very difficult thing that I go through every day here. All right, so here's an interesting fun fact right here. You see this? You see the milk? Whole milk. Ah, yeah, healthy posers. Every single one of us for the past 30 years has been buying 2% milk. Every one of you. Yeah, you buy 2% milk. When you buy milk, you buy 2%. I don't know who's out there buying whole vitamin D milk. Have you had whole vitamin D milk after 30 years of drinking 2%? Whole vitamin D milk tastes like a milkshake. It's thick and it's syrupy, and you're like, why is milk so thick? It's supposed to be watered down. So we're supposed to eat bad milk now. Not bad, but the milk that we always thought was bad is now suddenly good again because it's got good fats, according to the junkie with the brain worms. You gotta frame it all. Gotta make sure. All right, what else? Here's something else that I thought was interesting about this. They were asked about alcohol, and of course, this administration's like, alcohol's good. Nothing wrong with alcohol. Dr. Oz. They got Dr. Oz up there like he's an expert. Can we get real doctors, not TV doctors? And RFK Jr. is not even a doctor. Again, he's a junkie with brain worms. But he's got a famous last name. All right. Cigarettes. I don't see cigarettes on here. I'm sure that's one that's probably being pushed by this administration. Oh, and by the way, a fun thing about cigarettes. I don't know how fun this is. I predicted it. I've been predicting this for years. I have been predicting this for years because I understand trends. Not enough to make this show popular, but just in general, I am pretty good with spotting trends before they occur. Hey, guess what's back in a big fucking way? Cigarette smoking. You know why? Because it's cool. Because college kids are now not using vape anymore. They're going back to cigarettes. Why? Because they're being ironically cool. Look at us. You're not supposed to smoke anymore, but we're 22 and we're trying to be rebellious. And now we're all, cigarette smoking is back. Cigarette smoking is back among young adults. A year-to-year increase of over 40%. Yeah, cigarettes have been going clonk, 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 going all the way down because of the vaping and all that shit. But if you're 17 years old and you want to be interesting, you're smoking cigarettes again. And guess what happens? You get addicted to cigarettes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. God bless R.J. Reynolds and all the tobacco people. Hey, they took it on the chin for about a decade there when everybody stopped smoking, but they'll be back. All right, the food pyramid. There you have it. We've got a new one. Once again, the most important things that we can eat now in America: Slim Jim, cigarettes, and beer. Let's see. What else do we have? How about this? Here you go. Speaking of, we'll stay on the same thing. How about the least healthy state in America? Yeah, how about that? Let's look at this. Here is a new list that was also put out about states that need to be. What is this? States that, all right, here, I'll just give it to you. Here you go. All right, do we see this? This is fun. See, it's a map of the United States, and all the states are little squares, and they've got a, hold on. They've got a ranking. So let's see. What is the healthiest state? I don't see number one here. We got no number one. We got no number one. Where's the best, healthiest state that I can pick out? Nope. Jesus, where's like 1 through 5? How? Hawaii is 9. So there is no healthiest state. Is that? Oh, New Hampshire. There we go. New Hampshire is the healthiest state. There you go. Now we got 1 through 5. 1 through 5 is all up there in them tree-hugging East Coast flannel-wearing lumberjack places. The number one healthiest state in America is New Hampshire. Number 2 is Massachusetts. Number 3 is Vermont. Number 4 is Connecticut. Where's number 5? I would love to give you the top 5, but I can't find 5. Why is 5 not with 1 through 4? Yeah, I don't know. All right, would you be interested in knowing what the least healthy state is if you haven't already picked it out? The least healthy states are all in the same area too. And what a surprise, it's the Deep South. It's the Deep South where morbid obesity and all of these other, Louisiana, ladies and gentlemen, comes in 50. If you live in Louisiana, you are the least healthy state. If you're from the state of Arkansas, right next door to Louisiana, you're 49. And if you're from Mississippi, you're 48. If you're from Alabama, you're 47. These are the least healthy states in America. Illinois is 28. That's where I am. I'm 28. I'm on the unhealthy side. You would have to think that anything before 25 would make you one of the healthier states. I am 28. Illinois right now, 28. We could stand to be a bit healthier, but we need to put on a lot of weight for these cold winters, which, by the way, it's like 55 degrees right now here in Chicago. Yeah, last week when my kid was here, we had about a half a foot of snow on the ground. We were having snowball fights. We were doing all kinds of fun things. And then last night, apparently it went to 93 degrees in the middle of the night and everything melted. Woke up to nothing but mud, fog, and 55 degrees or whatever it was. I don't know, 50 degrees or something when I looked at it. It's insane. It shouldn't be this warm. But have no fear because football is coming this weekend. And apparently it's going to be in the teens on Saturday nights. So forgive us here in Illinois if we are the 28th healthiest state. How about Texas? Texas down here. Texas is at 40. That's terrible. That is terrible. A lot of fat dudes in Texas. A lot of super hot women and a whole bunch of fat bubbas. That's what Texas is dealing with. We're 40th. All right, there you go. Who cares? Who cares? These are all just numbers. They might be real. They might not be real. I'm just going to repeat them to you because I need content. Epstein file update. All right, I've been promising this. I don't want to go. We're already like running late. I got a meeting I got to get to. We're already running late. All right, I'll just read this to you. I made some notes here on the Epstein file updates. It says, after releasing thousands of files related to disgraced pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, the Department of Justice has now said that there are more than 2 million other documents currently being reviewed. Now, remember, the law was passed. All of this shit, all 2 million of these that are currently being reviewed were legally mandated to have been released weeks ago. They didn't give us that. They gave us some things, and it was all blacked out. And you people got beat. You people got beat. You people that are just so angry about the Epstein list, they wore you down. We're not hearing anything. We haven't talked about the Epstein list in weeks. President Trump's attempt to get us to be focused on something else has been spectacularly effective. So now they're quietly saying, oh, yeah, we got 2 million more things, and you ain't going to see that for months. Law be damned. Law be damned. They passed a law. What happens if they break that law? Nothing. We're going to write down that you broke the law, and then, like, later we'll be like, but you broke the law then? There's no fucking... No responsibility. Anyway, it says here some 12,000 files, photos, notes, and legal documents were released last month, but they represent less than 1% of the material that the government has in their possession. Initial estimates believe that it could take 8 years to review and disclose the remaining files. 8 years. This is the Department of Justice. They're saying this now, but it's not being reported and screamed about on CNN because a lady got shot in Minnesota yesterday, and on Saturday we invaded Venezuela. 8 years. The Justice Department is like, yeah, it's going to be 8 years now. Oh, I know there's a law. We're going to be about 8 years late on that law. Fuck you. Release it. And nobody's doing anything because we're all distracted by all the other nonsense. So, yeah. Keep that fight. No, you're not going to keep the fight up for Epstein. You're done. You got away with it. It's over. They're saying 8 years, and you people aren't screaming about it. You people are now screaming about whether or not the cop was fucking hit by the car or not. Oh, we're such monkeys. We are all just such monkeys. It says here, while the commitment of the department's personnel to this large effort has been substantial in breadth and impressive in effort, substantial work remains to be done, the Department of Justice said. No, fuck that. Dump it all out right now. What do you mean it's got to be done? You're done. The deadline was 2 weeks ago. What the fuck? If that timeline proves to be true, 8 years is the timeline. The final files won't be released until well after Donald Trump's second term in office is over. It also breaches the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which required the Department of Justice to release all unclassified information on the Epstein file within 30 days. Yeah, they just didn't do it. They didn't do it. Oh, we got a good name for it, too. The Epstein Files Transparency Act. Yay, we got it passed. That'll show them. And they went, nah. We're all like, okay. If that timetable proves to be true, the final files won't be released until well after Donald Trump's second term in office is over. It also breaches the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which required the Department of Justice to release all unclassified information on Epstein within 30 days. The delay in releasing the files has sparked anger among politicians. With Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer writing on X, "It's been 17 days since the Trump Department of Justice first broke the law and failed to release the Epstein files. It's been 14 days since Trump's Department of Justice released anything at all. With the Department of Justice doing everything in its power to delay and obfuscate. We don't even truly know how many more files there are to be released," Schumer said. Pearl clutch, pearl clutch, pearl clutch. Get that man, get him out of here. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Jesus. This is the august leader of the opposition. I'm going to write a letter. I'm so upset. You aren't built for this fight, Chuck. Get out of here. Jesus. It's been 14 days. Oh, this is going to get a lot of likes. Oh, people are going to like this tweet. I'm Chuck Schumer. You're a joke. You're as big a joke as all the ones opposite you on the other side of the aisle. We made a law. They're breaking the law, and there is no repercussion for it. Just the Department of Justice today and all the hubbub about all the other shit that's happening, they slide out that it's going to be 8 years. It'll be 8 years. 8 years. You good with that? Cool. Okay, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about ICE operations in Memphis. You're cool with it. All right, some quick NFL news. John Harbaugh is out gonzo in Baltimore. That was a shock. I thought Harbaugh was there for life. I thought he had such a strong relationship with the ownership group there in Baltimore that there was no way. I thought that he and Lamar were tied to each other. Well, talk is now that John Harbaugh, he might have a new job already, and that's because Mike McDaniel has been fired. Mike McDaniel down there in Miami just could never get the Tua thing going. I think they're done with both Tua and Mike McDaniel. They're certainly done with Mike McDaniel. I'm sure they're trying to figure out ways to cut ties with Tua. Tua Tagovailoa. Do you remember? I remember when he was coming out. I love this story because I know I'm not supposed to like the Philadelphia Eagles, and I don't like the Philadelphia Eagles, but I do like Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts. Back in college, if you remember, they both played for Saban down there at Alabama, and Jalen Hurts fucking was a great starting quarterback, but Tua somehow was somebody that Saban liked better. So Tua told his starting quarterback, Jalen Hurts, "Hey, you're not the starting quarterback anymore." And Jalen Hurts was like, "Fuck you." And he went, Oklahoma State? Is that where he went? Anyway, balled out there. Tua gets, remember everybody was going to be tanking for Tua when Tua came out in the draft. Lose all your games so you could get the absolutely brilliant and surefire franchise quarterback Tua. Tanking for Tua. Meanwhile, everybody was just like, yeah, fuck that Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts has already won a Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Tua can't fucking play court. I just don't like Nick Saban. I'm sorry. I know this bothers Ed. My buddy Ed is a Alabama fan. But Saban sucks. So anyway, I do not shed any tears for the Miami experiment that is now completely imploded. I always thought that Mike McDaniel was fucking irritating as shit. What a little dork. I mean, it just seems like this guy is going to get football players to play for him. He looks like a little nerd. He looks like a guy that should be providing water and Gatorade during timeouts, not holding the clipboard, making all the decision in his little capri pants. Remember when he's like, I'm the stylish, cool Gen Z or whatever coach. I don't even know what he is. He's young, but he's not that young. He's probably a millennial. I don't know. Anyway, I have no tears being cried for Mike McDaniel. He's gone. He'll be back. He's young enough. He's already been a head coach. There was a whole lot of heat around him years ago. He was supposed to be the next big thing. Everybody wanted a coach. And who was the other guy? It was Mike McDaniel was the hot young coach. This is how you've got to relate. This is the only way that you can relate with the new type of football player, these Gen Zers, is you've got to have a soft boy like Mike McDaniel, just being real understanding. Hugs, not wind sprints, hugs. You know, that was the whole vibe with him. And then you had almost a similar thing, the hot young coach, although a little bit different vibe there. Remember when Brendan Staley in San Diego was the guy? Oh my God. He has got Herbert play. Anyway, nobody knows anything about these coaches. And I'll tell you this about the bullshit about what coaches in the modern era need to be understanding. Coaches in the modern era don't need to motivate as much as they need to be there. They need to be there and they need to understand the Gen Z athlete and how delicate they are. Fuck you. The two most look at the coaches who are up for Coach of the Year. Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson are not that in any way, shape, or form. Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson are cut from the Jimmy Johnson, Mike Ditka school. These fucking guys are like coaches, and they've got their teams balling out. So stop with the pussy Mike McDaniel nonsense. All right. Anyway, he's probably a good coordinator, and I'm sure he'll be back in some way, shape, or form. Mike McDaniel has been fired down there in Miami. Rumors are that Harbaugh is already on his way. John Harbaugh rumored to already be in negotiations with the Miami Dolphins. They fired McDaniel after Harbaugh became available. Matt Nagy, he's another coach that's in the rotation again. Although I was listening to some discussion about Matt Nagy and why he might not be a surefire lock for one of these job openings in the NFL. Matt Nagy, of course, formerly head coach of the Chicago Bears. He has now done 2 different stints under Andy Reid. He's Andy Reid's fair-haired boy, so that carries some weight in league circles. Matt Nagy, when you look at his offense this year, it's like, you really think you're ready for a head coaching job again? You oversaw the decline of Patrick Mahomes, and you think that you think they're going to put you in charge of Cam Ward? Anyway, Matt Nagy is rumored to be interviewing today in Las Vegas. I think yesterday he met with the Tennessee Titans. So there you have it. Tonight, we've got a big football game. If you're so inclined to think that these college bowl games are important, the Fiesta Bowl is an important game, as the winner of the Fiesta Bowl will ascend to playing for the national championship tonight down there in Arizona. Was Arizona always the site of the Fiesta Bowl? Like when I was a kid, bowls meant bowls. When I was a kid, there was like 4 bowls, right? There was the Rose Bowl. I always thought that was the big one because I came from the Midwest and our Big Ten teams went to the Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl was always Big Ten champion versus Pac-10 champion. So there was Rose Bowl. There was the Cotton Bowl down in Dallas. That was a big one. There was the Orange Bowl in Miami. And then I want to say like the Peach Bowl was kind of important for a while. And then there was like the Citrus Bowl, not to be confused with the Orange Bowl. But I think the big 3 were Orange, Cotton, and Rose my whole life growing up. And then you had like the second level of bowls where you started to get like the Fiesta and the Gator and the Sun. Now all of these bowls used to be, you understand what they used to be? They were a marketing vehicle for vacation destinations. So the bowls were all named for whatever the destination was famous for. The Cotton Bowl famously was to promote, Cotton Growers Association in the South and the Southern kind of thing. Rose Bowl, same thing. Roses, Pasadena, it's the city of roses and all of that stuff. The Gator Bowl that was held in the swamps there. Now, I don't know, it's the Fiesta Bowl, I guess, but isn't it probably the Meineke Muffler, something like that? I don't know that I like that. College football playoff semifinal tonight featuring the number 10 Miami Hurricanes versus the number 6 Ole Miss Rebels. This is at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, not the traditional home of the Fiesta Bowl, I'll have you know. I think that was Sun Devil Stadium. 7:30 tonight. That's Eastern. So 6:30 tonight on ESPN. Winner advances to the college football playoff national championship. Who am I rooting for? Well, I don't think this is a difficult one for me. I hate the Miami Hurricanes. Hate them. I'm a Notre Dame guy. I hate the Miami Hurricanes. They shouldn't even be in this damn tournament, yet here they are, and they won their first game. So God bless them. Let them continue. They've proven that they belong. I don't think they should have been given the chance, but whatever. Okay, so it's Miami, the Hurricanes, number 10, taking on Ole Miss, the Rebels. Now, the name is troubling. I don't. There's a lot of imagery, and there's a lot of the Ole Miss Rebels. Whatever. I'm born in a part of the country that fought against that sees that as terrorism, that sees that as one of the most traitorous things ever. And yet here we have on the biggest stage in college football, we're going to be celebrating this, but whatever. I'm not one of these people who demands that they change their name. I don't give a fuck. I can just ignore it. But I'd be lying to you if I told you that I'm not troubled when I see a lot of the imagery surrounding Ole Miss and the Runnin' Rebels. With that said, I will be rooting for Ole Miss today. That's right, Ole Miss. Let's go. Number 6. Why? Because Lane Kiffin is a piece of shit. Lane Kiffin was their head coach. Lane Kiffin turned that program around. He got them into this position where they are, and then he left for greener pastures. He took more money to go once again, jump to LSU, making the exact same mistake that Brian Kelly made when he left Notre Dame to go to LSU, stating he felt he had a better chance to play in a national championship game. Cut to a year later, Notre Dame has played in 2 out of the 4 previous national championship games, and LSU hasn't done dick. So screw you, Brian Kelly. Now you're out of a job. And Lane Kiffin, history repeats itself. Lane Kiffin should be coaching a team that with a win tonight is going to the national championship game, but instead he decided to abandon all of his players for greener pastures at LSU. A program that doesn't have a chance of sniffing a national championship this year because they sucked. So I will be rooting for Ole Miss. I will be rooting for those kids. I will be rooting for whatever interim coach has stepped up to lead this team, because once he took the job at LSU, he had to walk away from the tournament. He doesn't even get to coach. You know that he is, according to his contract with Ole Miss, he is going to get the bonus for winning the national championship if they win a national championship. But there better not be anybody anywhere who ever describes Lane Kiffin as a national championship winning coach at Ole Miss, because no fucking way. I don't care what your lawyer negotiated in the contract. You will not have been the coach that led that team through this postseason. So let's go Ole Miss. I just hate Miami. There's just nothing. I mean, it could be the East Alabama pedophiles, and I would still be rooting against Miami. That's how much I hate Miami. I might hate Miami as a sporting organization, the Miami Hurricanes football. I don't really care about their basketball and shit, but I might hate them. They might be second. Now I think about it. Number 1 is obviously the Green Bay Packers. I cannot handle the Green Bay Packers. I get into that in a minute here. But yeah, so I think it would be Miami. The Miami Hurricanes is number 2. Who else do I hate? Hate Alabama, but I don't hate Alabama. That's not a top 5 team that I hate. LSU might be. A&M might be. I fucking hate A&M. Sorry. I like UT. I'm on the UT side of that Texas A&M UT thing. But again, I don't think I even put A&M there in the top 5. Let's talk about my number 1. Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers real quick, because we do have a whole slate of football games coming up over the weekend. It is playoff time here in America, and that means one thing. It's time to watch football. Well, it's been time to watch football since September, but here, where is this thing? Hold on. I'm trying to find this thing that I saw. There we go. Okay, look at this. I saw this going around. I want to point this out. This is, we're not going to get into one of the subjects, the high cost of youth sports, because we're just running out of time here. But let's see, will this show? There we go. Okay, we'll see if we can see it like that. All right, so these are the ticket prices for the playoff games that are coming up this weekend. As you can see, the entry level would be January 12th. I believe that is Monday night. Is that the Monday night game? Yeah, it's the Monday night game. Houston at Pittsburgh. If you want a bullshit ticket, and by the way, we are talking about the worst ticket in the stadium, 300, 400, 500 level. I don't know what your stadium accommodates, but whatever it is, you are in the last row of that last section. $165 a ticket. So dads can't take their kids to these games, but it's playoffs, and we should never be so bold as to think that we, the working class, should be allowed to attend something that's significant. We might get our really shitty seats for a preseason game, but NFL tickets. All right, the next one, 167, Rams at Carolina Panthers. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that it's in Carolina. Were that in Los Angeles, it probably wouldn't be $167 a ticket. $178 a ticket is what you get if you're seeing the Los Angeles Chargers take on the New England Patriots. $178 for the shittiest fucking seat in Foxborough. $194 is what it'll cost you for San Francisco at Philadelphia. You can see the prices are going up as the cities become more. Buffalo at Jacksonville, $199. Now, this is surprising. I would think that Jacksonville would have the lowest ticket prices, but they're even more. They're pricier than they are there in Philadelphia. Now, let's go to the game that I am most interested in, the game that I would like to go to if possible. That is Green Bay at Chicago, Saturday night. Prime time, national TV, if you got Netflix or whatever. Is it Netflix or Prime or whatever? Doesn't matter. It's stupid. Okay, just an aside on that. So you have to have an additional subscription if you want to watch the NFL playoff game between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears on Saturday night. Unless you live in Green Bay specifically, or in Chicago specifically. But if you are a Green Bay Packer fan who lives in Arkansas, you better have a fucking additional subscription to some platform, because otherwise you ain't seeing this playoff game. Now, what is this an example of? This is an example of the greed of the NFL, and it's an example of how lightly they take us, their fan base. And why do they take us so lightly? Because they know. They know that if you're a Packer fan and you live in Florida, you aren't going to not see this game. You're going to go and sign up for Amazon Prime or whatever it is that's going to allow you to see this game. And that is precisely what the NFL pitched to these platforms. See, the NFL used to be interested in growth. The NFL used to be interested in making sure that people could see their best and biggest games, because that would spread word of mouth and that would grow the league, and the league would become important and a part of the fabric of our society. Well, that ship has sailed. That's already done. And now the modern NFL is going, yeah, fuck those people. Yeah, we get it. They're going to love football no matter what. And you know what they'll do, Paramount? Or you know what they'll do, Prime? They'll pay. If they don't have it and they want to see the Green Bay Bears game, they will pay. That is the attitude of the NFL. And again, that is a markedly different attitude from when I was growing up. The NFL games, we had blackout games, because we didn't sell enough tickets, and then there was always a way to even see those. They made an effort to make sure that people could see their product for free. And it wasn't for free. Don't kid yourself. There's a lot of beer commercials and car commercials and shit like that. They're making money. But now they figured out a way, the NFL, to make twice the money. Why? Because they're still going to sell those commercials. Oh, yeah, you're going to pay a subscription now. This is the normalization of this. It was unheard of when these platforms first started, right? Remember, the idea was, well, I pay for this subscription and I don't have to watch commercials. It's commercial free. And then slowly but surely they started going, well, if you want to watch this, you're going to have to also watch commercials. And as the consumer who's ripping our credit card out, we're like, wait a second. You know what I want? You know what I want from Prime? Here's what I want. I don't want the fucking commercials. Don't show me those commercials. I don't want to be exposed to the commercial. I don't want the NFL doubling up on me. When you go to a commercial break on Prime, just make it a flat, solid screen saying, we'll be right back. But no, they won't do that. We'll be exposed to all the commercials. We'll be exposed to all the commercials, and we'll pay the subscription fee. And if we don't have the subscription, we will get it if we're a Packer fan or a Bears fan. $448 for the shittiest seat in Soldier Field. And let me tell you, there are a lot of shitty seats in Soldier Field. $448. You have got to be kidding me. They don't care. They don't care. Adam and I had a little conversation about this in the chat room earlier, not in the chat room, in the on Twitter earlier. He's explaining why. He's like, oh, it's because of the secondary market. Yeah, we get all that. We get all that. That doesn't change the fact that regular people who want to have these magical Americana experiences by taking their family to a game, we still can't afford it. I don't care if it's secondary market, the first market, the only way that you get to pay ticket prices is if you buy the entire season, because every fucking seat is sold out. Season tickets are sold out in the NFL, mostly, unless your team sucks. And then they move. And they move to Nashville or wherever. But who goes to a ticket play? Who can walk up to the box office and buy a fucking ticket for an NFL game? And don't tell me it's because of the secondary market. I know that. That goes without saying. But that is the process. And there are no safety nets in the process for regular people like you and me to be able to decide last minute, let's go to a game. Because the secondary market is fucking $448 for one ticket. That's $1,000 for the shittiest seats in the place. And this is nonsense too. He's like, yes, and these are resale tickets. No, they're not. There might be some season tickets, who are putting them on the secondary market and making some money. But for the most part, this is an industry. The reselling of tickets, the purchasing of the having endless bots waiting in queues to buy as many as possible. Got a friend Jeff who runs a ticket company. I know how this works. Adam's trying to make it seem like it's just the regular guy trying to turn a profit. Well, of course. And why shouldn't the regular guy try to turn a profit? But that ain't the bulk of what's happening here. These ticket prices are being driven up by a secondary market of independent contractors who are buying up. In the old days, I used to get paid. We used to have this here in Chicago. I used to get paid to stand in line for concert tickets. And then I'd buy as many as I could. And then I'd take them over to DVD. DVD sold tickets. And he would get a whole bunch of us teenagers, wait in line to buy tickets, and then we'd give them to him, and we'd get a little something. It's been going on forever. But I just would like there to be some kind. I've been lucky enough to take my kid to 3 Cowboy games. Now, I've been lucky enough to take my kid to 3 Dallas Cowboy games because I have friends who just are like, yeah, I'm not going to the game this week. You guys want tickets for the suite? And I'm like, yeah. But I couldn't, as a regular person, ever take my kid to a Cowboy game, and neither can you. And that's a real problem. It's another indication of how everything in this world is catered to, I don't want to say 1%, but let's say the 5% of people out there who can fucking spend $1,000 so that he and little Timmy can have a great dad weekend together. Sometimes I just move on from Adam's comments because I like to think that it bothers him when he, types something furiously and then I don't address it. All right. What else do we have here? I'm not going to do any picks. We'll do picks. We'll do the full picks tomorrow. Friday, we'll do the picks on the weekend games tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll talk about the absurd cost of youth sports and we'll get into the mommy group drama again, unless something else happens. Man, it's already 3:00. Shit. Does Landman suck is my question. All right, here's the thing about Landman. I think that Billy Bob Thornton is so good that the scenes that he's in are worth it. Okay? So I'm going to keep watching Landman, even though I know this show is so stupid. Billy Bob Thornton is so good. Also, Demi Moore is really good. His MAGA lawyer, the old man who's always like, we call it the Gulf of America now. That guy's great too. That guy's funny. I like him. Everybody else sucks on that show though. Everybody else on Landman absolutely sucks. Can Allie Larder and the daughter die in a Learjet crash? Can we write that into the script? Can we get them the fuck out of this show? They are the worst. I've never seen this before. I have these hacks for when you re-binge a series. Good example is with The Sopranos. If you want to re-binge The Sopranos, every time Tony is seated in Melfi's office, fast forward. because you've already seen it. You understand the pathos of the character. You don't need that. You're probably just watching it for the camaraderie of the goons, right? So you can fast forward through that. So there you go. There's a tip. Same thing can apply to Landman, and I haven't even seen these things before, but I am so convinced that the wife and the daughter provide nothing to the overall story that I would suggest just fast forward every time you see them, unless you're horny, because that's the only reason that they're on screen, because it's like this crazy mother-daughter hot couple, and it's just so fucking lame. Get rid of them. All right, also, one of these oil field issues are going to have to claim the life of Billy Bob's son, because that guy's even worse than the mother and the daughter. Billy Bob's son is so... First of all, is this the worst actor that has ever been on TV? Who the fuck is this guy? Where did they get him from? What producer's nephew has been cast as Billy Bob Thornton's son in Landman? Because he can't act his way out of a fucking paper bag. Then there's the whole relationship with him and his girlfriend or fiance or whatever, and that is just no reason to watch that. We need more Billy Bob. We need more of his MAGA lawyer friend. We need more of the hot bitchy lawyer from Houston. She's good. I like her. Oh man, she's like one of the best things in the show. If you watch Landman, you know what I'm talking about. She's like a hot 28-year-old corporate power lawyer who represents the oil industry, and whenever she walks into a room, everybody's like, okay, little lady, you take it easy. And then she fucking throws down, and you're like, yeah, she's the greatest lawyer alive. Anyway, I like her. She's great. Demi Moore is great. Billy Bob is great. MAGA lawyer's great. Hot lawyer's great. That's it. Other than that, no real reason to keep watching Landman, but I'm going to keep watching. This season is markedly worse than the first season. The first season was good. Taylor Sheridan is just on cruise control. He's not even trying. He's developing like 50 other shows, all with the same fucking story. Do you know I saw a breakdown of Landman and how it's the exact same goddamn show as Yellowstone? It is the exact same goddamn show. The characters are exactly the same. It's a father with a fucking wildcat daughter and a son that is kind of being a problem. It's the same fucking thing. Landman in Yellowstone. It's Taylor Sheridan. He's perpetrating a huge fraud. I thought up until very recently, I'm like, wow, this guy is prolific. And then I started watching the season of Landman, and I'm like, he's not that good. This on the heels of me completely bailing on Tulsa King, that Sylvester Stallone thing, that is even dumber than Landman. That show is just fucking stupid. Mayor of Kingstown is still good. I'll give the Jeremy Renner Mayor of Kingstown. That's good. That's a completely different kind of thing. That's more urban. It's more prisons. You know, it's kind of like Oz mixed with Sons of Anarchy, which I kind of like. That's it. That's the only good one. That's the only good one that he's currently doing in production. Mayor of Kingstown. Feds and Minnesota officials clash over deadly ice shooting. Do they now? Okay, that's the headline right now. All right, we're going to leave you with this. We'll leave you with this because I think this is funny. We're going to go out. We're going to go out on this. No tips today as well. I've seen that. That's not good. Show will not survive. All right, hold on. Let me show you this. All right, this guy, he looks like a jihadist, doesn't he? What is this also the ironic look that young people are doing now? I think that I'm going to try and look like a Muslim cleric. I think that's going to be I'm going to smoke cigarettes and I'm going to dress like a fucking cleric. I know, getting old is hard. You see these young people doing these things and you get upset. All right, here we go. This is funny, though.
I'm at the aquarium right now and there is a fish that looks like Trump. Let me turn this around.
That fucking fish! That fish looks like Donald Trump! You can't deny it. I saw it. That fish looked like Donald Trump. That is funny. No, you're awesome, Al. Thank you. Okay, we've got some Landman. We've got some Landman thoughts. My buddy Rob will be calling here shortly. Rob says, yeah, it's the two blondes. They're awful. They're the worst. They're actually not the worst. The son is even worse. Fucking, you know how bad that hat must smell? You know the hat he wears? He wears the same fucking hat. This kid looks like he needs a bath all the time. And then he crawls into bed with like this smoking hot Mexican chick who all of a sudden he's in love with. Make him take a shower. Honey, tell him to take a shower. Those bed sheets have got to be gross. He's got like the worst hygiene. He's unattractive. I don't get it. Once again, I don't get it. This is the Pete Davidson thing all over again. I don't understand why, within the reality of the show Landman, that incredibly ugly and uninteresting and boring young man gets a super hot girl like he's got. I don't get it. And don't throw the King of Queens at me. Well, what about the King of Queens? No, Doug on the King of Queens, Doug Heffernan, he had charm. He had charm. He had funny. I can totally see why the King of Queens woman would be interested in the King of Queens. That, he was bringing something. This kid on Landman bringing nothing. It's just like, blah. Yeah, let me tell you, but yeah. The whole, I had such high hopes for the introduction of the Sam Elliott character into Landman. Sam Elliott has been introduced as Billy Bob Thornton's dad. And I thought, oh, this is going to be good. Guess what? It ain't good. It's lame. It's lame. It is so manipulative. It is obvious that they're just trying to tug at the heartstrings by showing that, as rough and tumble as Billy Bob is, he's still got a dad that made him that way, and he loves his dad, and he's got trauma from his... Shut up! Taylor Sheridan is not the guy to write that. That is not Taylor Sheridan's motif. Cool alpha bullshit is Taylor Sheridan's motif, okay? Don't try and explore the relationship or the estranged relationship between father and son. You're not good at it. Anybody else? Any other thoughts? Witcher Kitty. Hey, can we meet tomorrow? I'm finishing an update and I want it to be fresh for you. We sure can, my brother. We sure can. Yeah, I'm free. Oh, we can do it over the weekend if you need. Anyway, hey, Rob, look, here's the thing, and we'll let the people in on this. Rob, as long as you and I are communicating every day about this project, I just don't want to put it off. So there we go. Yeah, that's fine. Well, now that I don't have to get off, seriously, now that I don't have to get off to go work on this thing with Rob, okay, let's see what else we got here. Take some questions. Want to play in the chat room? We can play Ask Me Anything. I got to take a pee again. All right, here's what we're going to do. Anybody that's still in the chat room, if you want to play Ask Me Anything, I will answer as honestly as I possibly can any question that you may have. And short of that, a couple other things we can talk about. So let me take a quick break. Once again, I would encourage you folks to support this kind of talk radio. Talk radio doesn't carry water for any particular political ideology. A talk radio show for normal people. The 70% of us that are normal, help us out. Drop a little something because this shit don't pay for itself. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to take a pee. And then, I'm sorry. I hate to be so vulgar. But I'm pretty vulgar sometimes. We'll be right back. All right, here we go. All right, ask me anything. One question comes from Al. It's a good question. It's a question I don't really like to talk about. Hold on. Why will this not work? Okay. All right, Al with a very good question, playing Ask Me Anything. Al says, if you don't have CeeLo anymore, are you getting another pet? All right. I do not have CeeLo. CeeLo is back with its rightful family, the wonderful E family. Without going into the details of, that family, they're a wonderful family. There was a long period of time where I was essentially the sole. CeeLo basically kind of started hanging out with me, right? The whatever. CeeLo, over the course of 4 years, although I was never her master, technically, I used to call her my dog niece and I'm a dog uncle because technically, But over the course of 4 years, CeeLo became my favorite dog that I've ever had. My favorite dog. And I've had dogs my whole life, and I love all my dogs. And this doesn't mean that Blue is shit. Blue is my husky T-Wolf. No, but Blue wasn't as affectionate as CeeLo. CeeLo was. The reason I hate cats is because you never know if a cat actually likes you. The thing that I like about dogs is that dogs let it be known that they like you, right? CeeLo let it be known that she loved me. Loved me. So, I haven't spoken of CeeLo because it is heartbreaking. Never broken up with a dog before. I've never, that dog, I love that animal. But that animal is loved, and that animal is that animal is loved. I just miss her, and it was hard. It was hard, I told my mom the other day I'm staying here while I get settled at my mom's, and I told her the other day that I still sleep with my legs curled a certain way because in my mind CeeLo is still laying on my legs. Sad. So anyway, the question is, am I getting another pet? Well, they say that the quickest way to get over is to get another one under you. No, they don't say that about dogs. That's about sex and women. No plan. I'm not stable at the moment to be able to take a pet into my world. I don't know where I'm going to be living. I'm figuring a lot of stuff out. So there is no immediate. Now I will get another dog. Yes. There will be. Oh God. I won't get another Catahoula, whatever she was, Catahoula Mastiff or Catahoula, whatever. I won't get another one of them because I put more work into that damn dog. And I think that's why I love her. I think that dog was a weapon. That dog, CeeLo is a lethal weapon. So I won't be getting that. I think I'm going to get a golden. I was telling there's this rule. Don't get people dogs, don't get people pets, which is a good rule. Never presume to give somebody a pet. Merry Christmas, I got you a dog. Yeah, no, whoa. First of all, dog's very personal. You want to pick that dog out yourself. Certainly don't want to be saddled with a dog. Here you go. Here's a gift that's gonna, force you to walk her on rainy mornings for the next 15 years. Merry Christmas. So don't do that. But if you are going to do that, and here's the rule of thumb, right? If you are going to get somebody a dog because you're like, you know what, grandma needs a dog or whatever. If you are going to do that on somebody, make it a golden retriever. Make it a golden retriever. Not just because of the reputations of golden retrievers, which is impeccable. Like I say this, I think I said this the other day. When God made dogs, he was like, all right, I think man needs a friend. I think it's got to be loyal. I think it's got to be cuddly. I think it's got to be something that will defend him. Here you go. And he made the golden retriever. The very first one, right out of the box. He'd been thinking about it for months. He knew exactly what he wanted to execute. And God created the golden retriever. It's perfection. It's the perfect dog. And then, then it started, with all that stuff. Like, I think I mentioned, like the wiener dog. That was like $4.45 on a Friday. He created that. He's like, shit, we got to go. I need one more dog. I got to make quota. And they're like, here you go. And he's like, bam, wiener dog. $4.45 on a Friday. Let's go. Let's hit the bar. But the golden retriever was first. So that would be the exception. And you know why? Because there is no easier dog in the world to place than a golden retriever. If you give a golden retriever to somebody and that person doesn't want that golden retriever, somebody's going to want that golden retriever. Just go on Facebook and say, I've got a purebred golden retriever. Who wants it? And there will be a line of people. You want to know how I know this? Go to a dog shelter. Try and find a golden retriever. They don't exist. You know what does exist? Golden retrievers who have been the victim of pit bull rape. That's what you'll see. You'll see it. They'll try and pass. Oh, this one's kind of like a golden, except it's got like the pit bull jaw. It's like, oh my God, what happened there? I don't think that relationship was consensual. Anyway, my next dog will be a golden retriever. My next dog will be a golden retriever because my next dog will probably take me into my 70s with any luck. And, I don't know that I need some like weapon. I don't know that I need something like CeeLo, which was the most athletic dog I've ever seen in my life. This dog could jump out of trees, into trees, over fences, into fences. It's insane. Dog was like a fucking Avenger. At my age, I couldn't keep up with it. I'm like, I can't do it. Golden retrievers, they're not going to cause any problems. Golden retrievers love everybody. All right, so thank you. Yeah, I have no plans on getting another pet, but when I do, it will be probably a golden retriever. And I know you're all like, you gotta go down to the pound. Nah, you go down to the pound when you're getting a dog at 30 for the family. But when you're my age and you're just looking for a companion for your silver years, no, you can't take any chances. You can't go. I know it's important to rescue dogs. Get a dog for your kid, go to the pound. Get a dog, you and your girlfriend moving in together, seeing if you can make this family thing work. Go to the pound, get a dog. You can get a dog pound. You can get a dog from the pound, in your 30s, in your 40s, and even into your 50s, I suppose. But right now, I'm getting on. And my next dog's got to be one that I pretty much understand the expectations, and that's a golden. That's a golden retriever. They're so expensive, though. They're so expensive because everybody likes them. Nicest animal God ever created. There was a golden retriever that lived across. You want to hear how great golden retrievers are? So I've told you about CeeLo. CeeLo was a Catahoula and a Staffy. So a Stafford, big. What were they? They're called Hooly Bullies. Is what the mix is, because it's like a pit bull and a Catahoula and Hooly Bullies. Anyway, so I had this Hooly Bully who doesn't like any other dog on the planet. Every other dog is like, fuck you. What the fuck are you looking at? Across the street was this dog named Augie. Augie was a golden retriever. Augie was never on a leash. Augie's owner is like a 70-year-old man, and he just opens his front door, and Augie comes running out. CeeLo wanted to murder every other dog on the planet. Not Augie. CeeLo loved Augie. CeeLo, when Augie came running, CeeLo get into her little plaything, and the tail's going. And even other dogs, even other aggressive dogs, recognize the perfection of the golden retriever. All right, here we go. Another question. We're playing Ask Me Anything, and I will go. I will go on the previous question until another one is asked. Ask me anything. Brown Hood says, since you've been back up north, any Louise Post or Nina Gordon sightings? No. He, of course, mentioning the two famed ladies of Veruca Salt. No. God, I used to have such a takes me back to the 90s. I don't know that when you get older, you start to look back on your life and you go, oh yeah, I saw that. Oh yeah, I was there for that. But in these moments, like while they're occurring, we don't stop and go, oh, this is going to be something that I'm going to remember when I'm in my fit. No, we don't do that because it's all happening and we don't appreciate it in the moment. But man, I'm telling you, those days in the 90s when I was first at the Loop, which was a big, powerful morning show here, a radio station here in Chicago. And then after that, I jumped over to Q101 right as the alternative music thing was booming. And Q101 was one of the most important alternative rock stations. And that happened to have coincided with the rise of not huge, great, memorable bands out of the Chicago independent scene, but a whole bunch of them that broke through for a period of time. I mean, look, for every Smashing Pumpkins and Liz Phair, right? There are half a dozen Stabbing Westwards and Veruca Salts and Material Issues and Urge Overkills and all that. But when I think about those days, like I think about it now, I'm like, man, I had like such cool access to this stuff that I hold so dear now. Like my 16-year-old kid, I have a Spotify list on my Spotify that is called the Wicker Park Sound. Well, Wicker Park is the area in Chicago where all these bands came out of. Be like if in Dallas there was a similar thing and you called it the Deep Ellum Sound. Anyway, the Wicker Park Sound. My 16-year-old loves it. I mean, half of the shit that is on this, stuff that was never released on the radio or anything, it was just local hits or shit that we liked when we saw them play live. And, so I know it's good. I know it's quality because a 16-year-old with absolutely no bias who seems to have a really cool, wide-ranging, thing about music. He loves it. He thinks he's never heard of Veruca Salt. Mentioning Nina and Louise, two founding members of Veruca Salt. He's never heard of Veruca Salt. He doesn't know who they are, but he knows that Volcano Girls is a fucking banger. Volcano Girls was in his playlist, his pregame playlist. He's got these songs that he listens to before he goes out and plays a high school football game down there in Texas. And Volcano Girls was on it. I'm like, that's pretty cool. He's like, man, that song gets me hype. I'm like, okay, cool. All right, cool. Volcano Girls by Veruca Salt. Again, they're not a timeless rock act, but they were really good for the moment. And I remember like being around them when they were just people in bands that were in your town. And now I'm hipping my son to their songs on a playlist 40 years later. Anyway, it was good times. Hi, Ross. That's my buddy Ross. Barney with a question. He says, where is Who Killed Live 105.3? All I can find is raw interviews. Yes. So here's what's going on with that. I decided that I was going to try and sell it because it's so good. James Parker did such an incredible job on that. So I reached out to a couple of people in Dallas over the last few weeks. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get it sold because the person who was definitely interested in putting their name all over it, so-and-so presents, that whole thing. I mean, look, James put a lot of work into it. Ed is hosting it. I did some interviews. If there's some interest in it, there should be money. Everybody else is able to do it. Why can't we? So as it turns out, I learned last week, hey, it's the new year. You get a chance to listen to this. How do I say this without outing anybody? There was fear among the person who was going to sponsor this, not the person, but the company that was going to sponsor the Who Killed Live 105.3, who was going to have title sponsorship. This company is continually doing business with the people who are going to be name checked in this. And anyway, it was a problem. They loved the concept. They listened to it. And then they came back to me and they said, hey, look, you go in hard on X, X, and X. And, we spend a lot of money on it. We can't, you can probably piece it together. You can just think, hey, who from the old Live 105.3 is still advertising on the Fan? Who is that? So anyway, there's been a little bit of delay on that end. There's one other person who is fucking hemming and hawing who might want to put their name on it. So I'm waiting to hear from that person, but why not give them a call on the ride home today? So yeah, so that has been the delay. I talked to James last week or the week before that, and he's like, well, let's keep trying to do that. I'm like, okay. So hold on, just give it about a week or so. We'll figure out how we're going to be able to do this. Anyway, but yeah, coming soon to Radio Misfits. There you go. Al is getting a dog. Al is getting a Boston Terrier. He says, I'm getting a Boston Terrier. What is a Boston Terrier? Well, let me look at what a Boston Terrier is. Prepare to be judged. Hold on. Let me look at a Boston Terrier. Okay. All right, look at that guy. All right. There you go. This is a Boston Terrier. This is I mean, look, I love all dogs, right? All dogs I love, even like the worst dogs, which are, ones that are carried around in purses by old ladies. Those are the worst dogs. Those aren't even dogs. Those are just like rats in dog suits. Look at this little guy. Look at this. I like this little guy. He looks like he's got attitude. I typically don't like the little terriers, but it's the combination of his face, his muscular body, and his ears that make me go, okay, I could have one of these. What's their temperament like, though? Are they yappy? I don't want a yappy dog. It's one of the reasons that I like golden retrievers so much. Golden retrievers do not care. Golden retrievers do not care. They're not going to be bothered by anything. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Since you've been back, any other questions? Any other questions? We have playing Ask Me Anything here because I've got suddenly time. Hold on, Mr. Popular. Okay, Ed. All right, thank you. All right, thank you. All right, let's see what else. Maybe there is some stuff that we can talk about here. Oh, we can go into this. Because so here we are. It is the 8th day. I gotta check. It is the 8th day of the new year, and we still haven't given the Wayne Osmond Prize away. What is the Wayne Osmond Prize? The Wayne Osmond Prize, and this is the first year we'll be awarding it, because you see, last year, Wayne Osmond, a member of the Osmond family band, he was one of the Osmonds. They were big in the 70s. Wayne Osmond died on January 1st, 2025, making him the first official celebrity to die in the year 2025. Now, why is this important? It's important because I like to keep an account of the death trilogies. We all know celebrities die in 3. We all know that celebrities die in 3 within 10 days of each other. That makes a celebrity death trilogy. We had 31 celebrity death trilogies in the year 2025. We have not even begun 2026. It is January 8th. Now, hold on. Let's pull this up. I'm going to go to my list. Let's see if anybody is croaked. Has anybody croaked yet? All right, so there is one that I was like, Argh. So Bob Pulford, who was the general manager of the Chicago Blackhawks and an NHL player back in the 50s and 60s, Pulley died at like 90-something years old. I'm just sorry. He doesn't make the list. He is not enough of a celebrity to make the list. He died on, I think, the 3rd day of January. He cannot kick off the new year. We need a bona fide celebrity. And it doesn't have to be, an A-list Academy Award winning actor. It can be just somebody that was on, a sitcom in the 70s that we all recognize. But what it can't be is a guy who was the general manager of the Chicago Blackhawks for a bunch of years. So that's why we're not counting Bob Pulford. Bob Pulford died. Along those same we have another person, another guy who has, hold on, let me make sure we find it right. No. Hold on. Yeah, no. Look, I mean, there have been a lot of people who have died. None of them, I think. Wait a second. I just saw one that just popped up. Hold on. Something just popped up, and it's being retroactively placed into the January 4th deaths. Hold on. I need to see this. This is, I did not even hear that this person had died. I don't know that he's going to make the list, but he is somebody. Okay. Hold on. I'm reading. All right, here we go. It is listed retroactively, but I can promise you that this was added today. It wasn't added on January 4th. It says here that on January 4th, Michael Reagan died. Michael Reagan was the stepson of Ronald Reagan. He was a political commentator. It says here that he died of cancer on January 4th. Michael Edward Reagan was an American conservative political commentator, Republican Party strategist, and radio talk show host. He was the adopted son of former U.S. President Ronald Reagan and his wife, actress Jane Wyman. Oh, he wasn't even Nancy's kid. He was like Jane Wyman. He worked as a columnist for Newsmax. All right, he died of cancer. Michael Reagan, son of a president, conservative commentator, does not make it. Sorry. That kind of falls into the same category as, Bob Pulford or Glenn Hall. I think Glenn Hall is the other one, the other hockey player that died. They are not famous enough for us to put as the first celebrity in 2026. So I'm sorry. But we didn't know about this. We didn't know about Michael Reagan. Okay. Let's go back to the list now. All right. So let me see. Let me see if anything else has been retroactively added. Did you guys hear about that? Did you guys hear that Michael Reagan, the son of Ronald? I didn't think that was reported anywhere. I mean, granted, there's been a whole lot going on since January 4th. We invaded Venezuela, and then a woman was shot in the face 3 times on the streets of Minneapolis. So maybe, they didn't have time to go, and wishing a farewell to the son of... We didn't get that on the news. I didn't see it anywhere either, and I look at the news every day. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't look like anything else has been retroactively... Sir Patrick Duffy, not Bobby Ewing from Dallas, but Sir Patrick Duffy. Sidney Kubrick, I'm sorry. Sidney Kubrick died, not to be confused with Stanley Kubrick, who died years ago. He died on the 2nd. All right, let's go up to today. Let's see. So far, January 8th, what do we got? Lorraine Brabham, Australian politician, member, and speaker. She's 87. I don't know. She's nobody. Sir Tim Shadowbolt, New Zealand politician. Yeah, nobody. Okay, so we still don't have any deads. We still do not have a significant dead person, celebrity, that makes our... Glenn Hall, there it was. It was yesterday. Glenn Hall, 94 years old, Canadian Hall of Fame ice hockey player. He played for the Red Wings, the Blackhawks, and the Blues. Just like Pulley. I'm sorry. I don't think a hockey player from the 60s can kick off the new year of celebrity death trilogies. We gotta have an undisputed guy that's in there. What's this, Al? What is Trump talking shit again about the dead lady? Classy. Classy. We got such a classy president. Trump unleashed his second insult at mom. 37 killed by ICE. Hold on, let me look. Let me see what we got here. Got to close some of them windows. Al's getting a Boston Terrier. I needed to see what they looked like, so I had a bunch of Boston Terrier windows open. All right, what did he say? What's the latest? There is a universe in which Donald Trump got hugged by his dad, Stephen Miller had a date to the prom, and Mike Johnson embraced his sexuality. And in that universe, we have flying cars and free healthcare. Yeah, that would be nice. What's going on with Ed? We got, one of the things we were going to talk about today, but I actually moved it off to the side because I thought we were going to really I thought it was going to run the way it did, where we just didn't have time. But there's shit going on in Iran, big shit going on in Iran, like stuff that we ought to really start paying attention to, because Well, Iran's kind of a big one here. Hold on. Hey, my buddy Chris says, I like my original 4 food groups: junk, fast, frozen, and spoiled. Look at him. There he goes. I think he's behind, though, because we were talking about the food pyramid a long time ago. Here, let's check out some video that our boy Ed posted from Iran. Let's check this out. So let me get you caught up. So there are mass protests breaking out all over Iran. It's been happening now for the better part of a week. The established government seems to be teetering. There is a rumor that has been floating that the Ayatollah, the Ayatollah, is supposedly either already in Moscow or is preparing to be whisked out of Iran into Moscow safety, because apparently we have an Iranian revolution brewing where the people are taking to the oh, hell is going to break loose. It'll be good. It'll be good for those of us who think that, well, it'll be good for those of us who believe or hope that maybe they're going to re-embrace Western ideas the way they did. People don't get this. Millennials don't get this. They're too young. But we Gen Xers, we remember. We remember in the late 70s when all of a sudden people were talking about this place, Iran, and it was falling apart, and the Islamic student revolution. I mean, I lived through all that. I remember people going, oh my God, they're going to, like, Iran. My point is this: Tehran in particular was a party place. People went there and partied. The Shah had a very Western kind of world there. That's why so many Persians emigrated to America after the rise of the Islamic Revolution. Well, anyway, for years and years and years, the CIA and the other Western groups have been sort of fomenting unrest among the civilian population in hopes that we could get a revolution that would then oust the Islamics, the Ayatollah, and the system that they have now, and maybe reinstall some kind of puppet government that the West could control in Iran, all under the guise of it's what's best for the freedom-loving people. I don't know. It's very complicated. All I know is that the people are rising up, whatever direction they decide to take this shit in. It's probably not going to be the crazy Islamic all bow down to the Ayatollah nonsense that we've come to know. So I imagine that's going to be better. But let's watch this video. This is happening right now in Iran. Are they like pulling down the Iranian flags, or what is this? All right, so here's why this is interesting to us. Boop, boop. By the way, I should say Ed posted that of Radio Misfits. He says, I'm calling it. This is the Iranian Revolution. This is the moment generations of Iranians have prepared for, with a little help from the CIA. It will eclipse the fall of the Berlin Wall. History is being written by Iranians themselves. Ed posted that an hour ago. Now, I don't... If, in fact, this is the fall of the Islamic State in Iran, then he is absolutely right. That'd be a seismic. Remember, the Iranian state as it currently exists is all buddied up with China and Russia, and that's why the Khomeini is going to go run off to Moscow instead of have his head lopped off in some square there in Tehran. So we'll see. We'll see what happens next. Hey, man, Maduro. Maybe we put Maduro in there. No, you know that it's going to be Rubio. They're going to make Rubio the new Ayatollah. Why not? Add that to his El Presidente down there in Venezuela. He's the Archduke of Greenland. He's getting all the jobs. You know why Marco Rubio's getting all the jobs? I'm telling you, this is why Marco Rubio's getting all the jobs. He's the only semi-competent member in that entire administration. That's it. Everybody else is somebody that got the job because Trump saw some political advantage to either rewarding or amplifying whoever that nutbag is. Marco Rubio is the only guy, and thankfully he's got one of the most important jobs, which is Secretary of State. I would like there have been a little more attention paid to the Department of Justice, but whatever. We got the competent guy as Secretary of State. That's fine. What do you mean? Marco Rubio sucks. Well, he might suck, but he is competent. He is not like he can do things. I don't think Marco Rubio is a moron. The way I think Pam Bondi is a moron. The way Kash Patel is obviously a moron. No, Rubio's not. Rubio's a smart guy. He understands the lay of the land, and he looks out for what happens next. Whereas none of these people consider what happens next. It's just what's happening now. I'm all up in my feels. And this Rubio at least seems to be a bit more contemplative of, things. I'm not here singing praises of Marco Rubio, but I do think that he is the only one in this administration when this whole thing sort of levels out. Marco Rubio will be the only one left standing. I believe that, unless they figure out a way to put him in jail because they know he's the only competent one and he's taking notes. Wouldn't that be a thing? What if he's just in there taking all kinds of copious notes? For when evidence is needed for the prosecution of every single one of these people, every one of them. Oh, yeah. Remember when the Democrats and the libs were all like, they're saying lock her up. I mean, my God, where are we in American politics that we are actively talking about locking our political opponents up? Fuck you. We're locking them up now. That's right. Locking them all up. Better be really afraid of that blue wave. I'm telling you, if all of these green and purple-haired liberals come out and we flip both houses, first one to go is the orange pumpkin boy. Then we're coming after all the other ones, and I can't wait. Because we are long past the moment where we're all supposed to just forget this happened. We'll do that with the rank and file citizenry. I believe that we need to provide an off-ramp to our brothers and our sisters and our neighbors, the people who went off the deep end with this MAGA bullshit. I do believe that we need to provide some kind of an off-ramp to them because they must be welcomed back into civilized society. They must be. We don't forget. Like, we know that when the shit happened, who went where. We don't forget that, but we welcome them back. They can come back. That ain't the case for the people who are robbing the treasury. That ain't the case for all of these con men who have been elevated to these positions. And I'm talking about all of them. I'm talking about that Peter guy, Peter Navarro. Let's put him back in jail. Vivek Ramaswamy, that guy can go kick rocks. All of them. They're all criminals. Kash Patel, enjoy prison, dude. Your lazy eye. Put them all in jail. But on what charges? I don't fucking care. They tried to wreck America. Put them on let's create those charges. Let's create new charges of fucking up America. Oh, yeah, well, you guys started it. And if more Democrats, or at the very least, because I could never, without vomiting, call myself a Democrat, if whoever rises up with this new opposition party doesn't have that attitude, fuck them. They're just going to lose because it's war now. The soul of America is at stake. Stop arguing about chicks with dicks and all that fucking nonsense and put the criminals in prison. Thank you. That's what we're doing. Hi, Joe. Joe's got something to say. Joe's got a big one. Joe says, and I'll read this to you. Joe says, I had a roommate who lived in Tehran with her parents. They were shuttled out of the country, and it was falling. She was traumatized by the exit. I had never heard of Iran before I met her. We were 20 years old when we met, so 47 years ago. And I think she was back in the States about 2 or 3 years. She hated living there. Being a teen, white American female, she faced constant harassment from Iranian men. They lived in an American corporate compound, and she was pretty much stuck there on the ground for safety's sake. Well, yeah, man. I mean, it's one of those things that we think about now when we're older and we're like, God damn, you know what? If I get fucking sent to hell, at the end of my life, if they're like, yeah, you're going to hell, and they point to this thing, what can I do? I just go, yeah, I was a shit. In my defense, I was 9. But there was an Iranian girl who came to our school round about this time that all of this shit was happening. When the Islamic Revolution was rising up. Look, you all know Persian Americans have assimilated into society that there's like reality shows about the Persians of sunset or whatever. People who came over here. I mean, here, my favorite NFL mind, but person who can like just talk about the NFL and have really interesting takes is an Iranian female. An Iranian female from Texas, Leila Rahimi. You might remember her from The Ticket. She's fantastic. She is so smart when it comes to NFL football. She does talk radio here in Dallas. Her parents, her family came over here during the revolution. Jasmine Sadri. Jasmine Sadri from the Jagger Show. Same exact thing. So when I was a kid, we had this girl named Insia. And she was suddenly just dropped into the middle of our school. And when I think about this now, I'm like, oh, it was 1977, 1978. That was the Iranian Revolution. So this little girl who was dropped into this suburban American school, I mean, my God, she dropped right in the middle of a fucking John Hughes movie. She wears the burqa and the veil and all of that stuff. Or no, she wasn't like that, but traditional. Her mom wore a head thing. So when her mom came to school, everybody was like, ha, 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 they're different, so they're weird. Right? That was the idea. I'm 8, 9 years old when this all happened. I can tell you that we were like a pack of fucking wild dogs on that girl. This is what I say if for some reason, when I die and they're like, yeah, you're going to hell. And I'm like, well, can you tell me why? And then they start pointing to these things that I did in my life. I'll be like, yeah, I'm not going to fight that. I was such an asshole. And I wasn't even singularly an asshole. I was just in the mob that chuckled and laughed and picked on her and made her cry because she was different. Kids are mean. And that's how we kids are mean. But yeah, think about that. That must have been hard for, people like that. Poor Insia. Anyway, yeah, we were dicks. And can't imagine how difficult that is for a kid. Imagine being a kid. You're 7, 8 years old, and all of a sudden you're seeing helicopters land in your schoolyard, and your dad's furiously putting a suitcase together, telling you to grab 5 things that mean the most to you because your entire world is about to be changed. And oh yeah, this traditional Middle Eastern sort of lifestyle, guess what? I'm dropping you into the middle of fucking the Breakfast Club. Hope you adapt. Yeah, we were mean. April. April says that reality show about Persians is starting back up tonight, and I will be watching. I don't even know. I just know. Is that I got it. The Shahs of Sunset, right? Isn't that what it is? The Shahs of Sunset. They were the Iranian and the Persian people, aside from their, unique cultural observances and stuff, they were very westernized. Imagine you're a 20-year-old woman in Tehran. You're a secretary at an advertising firm. You smoke cigarettes and you drive a car and you wear skirts. And then all of a sudden they're like, you can't drive anymore. Why are you showing leg, you slut? Let's all throw rocks at her. I mean, that's wild. So you got to get out of there. And then the place they drop you into is just a pack of fucking mean teenagers. That's rough. I have a lot of respect for those people. Just like I told you yesterday, or maybe it was today. This show's been going on for so long at this point. When I told you, when we were talking about the immigrants that come to this country, I think this was today. The guy who lives on the hillside in the cardboard box who says, you know what? My life means more to me than this. There are opportunities out there, and I have the ambition and the wherewithal to get up, traipse down the mountainside, and walk all the way across Mexico in order to wash dishes in fucking Dallas. Those are the people that we want here. Those are the people that actually looked around and didn't go, oh, well, I'm too lazy to do it. I'm just going to stay here. No, we're getting the best. It's difficult for them. It's a similar thing being, a Persian and Iranian who had to go through the first revolution where all of a sudden you're just dropped into a completely different, I don't know. I'm spinning now. Hold on. Joe's back involved. Joe says the Valley, Persian style, partial class from Shahs. Oh, that's what it's. So it's a whole new thing. I will say this. I understand why they want to hide their women under those veils and stuff, because Persian women are, quite frankly, one of the most beautiful varieties of female humanity has created. They're all so hot, man. They're super hot. Middle Eastern women are super hot when they're allowed to be super hot. I don't know if you've ever seen that show on FX called Tyrant. There was a show on FX called Tyrant, and it was basically about a guy like the royal family in Saudi Arabia. Like, imagine the royal family. So it was a series about being in a royal family that is also an authoritarian dictatorship. And the premise of Tyrant, and I think you can still find it on Hulu, it was very good. The premise of Tyrant was that there was a son, a prince, if you will, of this fictional Middle Eastern country. There was a son who went off to America to be educated, married a blonde girl from Arizona, and became a dentist in Beverly Hills. He's as Americanized as it gets. And the premise of Tyrant is that he has to come back for a funeral, for a family funeral. So he brings his Americanized kids and his Americanized wife, and they come back and they live in the palace and they experience, it's a fucking great show. Great show. Every woman in that show, every princess is an 11.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. It ain't even like it goes to 10. No. There was one woman, Moran Atta. Dude, you guys know? Yeah, I remember her name. Her name is Moran Atta. I don't know if you've ever heard her. She's like she's an Iranian actress. Hold on. She's like the most beautiful woman on the planet. Moran, is it Atta? Is that Atlas? Oh, it says here she's Israeli of Persian descent. All right, here you go. I go to war for this. This is what they look like underneath them burqas, people, just to let you know. Look at this. Oh, my God. Holy shit, the olive skin, the eyes. Oh, my God, yeah. I get it. I get why the men want to keep these things under burqas. Get them all hidden. Anyway, there you go. I love Persian women. Love them. They're gorgeous. You know what it is? I think I like any woman that's not Irish white. Like, I hate to say that, but it's like, I don't know. I like a little bit of exotic. I like a little bit of and then it's funny. It's, I say this about my son. My son's mother is German and Swedish. It's like I went out and I actually produced another human being with someone even whiter than my shanty Irish ass. I went and found, instead of like maybe knocking up a Mexican girl, I shouldn't classify it that way. We were married. We didn't knock up anybody. But my point is this: like maybe I should have maybe a Mexican girl get a little bit of fresh blood flowing through. Instead, my son, I got a 16-year-old son who can't walk too closely to a studio lamp because he'll get third-degree sunburn. He's as white as they come. All right, what else do we have going on here? Anything else? Big news. Yeah, Trump said some bullshit. We don't need to get into it, though. Okay, let's see what this is. J.D. Vance, I told you earlier, J.D. Vance was up. He was talking in the White House press room. I don't know what he was talking about, but here's a clip that seems to be going around.
Wedding dress awaits.
Let's watch it and then we'll comment on it.
And now crafted with lower impact.
Oh, what just happened?
At Maggie Sotero, beauty meets purpose.
Hold on.
We design with heart, honoring the planet, and your one-of-a-kind love story. Because your gown should reflect
better be
you.
Good. There's a commercial.
Timeless, thoughtful, unforgettable.
All right.
Maggie Sotero, start your...
All right, whatever. Hold on. We'll just share it anyway.
Forever, where you...
All right, come on, play it.
And your gown make a beautiful impact.
I'm sorry, guys. What's going on here? You guys are meant to report the truth. How have you let yourself become agents of propaganda of a radical fringe that's making it harder for us to enforce our laws? You just asked me a question that presumed that the reason why this woman died is because she was engaged in legitimate protest. She tried to run somebody over with her car, and
Okay, so they are sticking with that story. None of us believe, well, maybe some of you do. She didn't try and run anybody over. That was obvious. She was trying to flee. Was that the proper move to make in the moment? No, probably not. But let's stop framing it like she was attempting to murder agents. She was not.
The guy defended himself when that happened. Next question.
The investigation is still ongoing.
I said next question.
But Mr. Vice President, I mean, you presumably watched the video yourself. There's not the slightest doubt in your mind, having viewed it, that the victim, you still believe that she deliberately tried to ram him despite seeing this video?
Look, I don't know what's in a person's heart or in a person's head, and obviously we're not going to get the chance to ask this woman what was going on. What I am certain of is that she violated the law. What I'm certain of is that officer had every reason to think that he was under very serious threat.
Again, another example of how these people are all about the letter of the law until it's, until it's releasing the Epstein documents or a president with 37 convictions. They're all about the law. And when you're a criminal, anything can happen to you unless you're one of them.
Jury or in fact, his life. What I'm certain of is that she accelerated in a way where she ran into the guy. I don't know what was in her heart and what was in her head, but I know that she violated the law, and I know that officer was acting in self-defense. It raises an interesting point, though. Look, if people want to say that we should have a legitimate debate about, what was she really doing, right? Was she panicking when she drove into this officer, or was she actually trying to ram him? That's a reasonable.
Was the officer panicking? That's the question. It ain't about her. I mean, unless you want to pretend like it's clear, it is so clear that she was trying to run over him and all the other, just like the president said. It's not clear. That's not clear. This is gaslighting. He is arguing from a position that is absurd. He is arguing this and making excuses for a context that doesn't exist. He is asking you to absolutely 100% sign off on the idea that this woman was trying to intentionally run over a federal agent. That is the entire basis for his attitude on this. That's gaslighting, because all of us saw the video and we're like, we're not sure that's as clear as you seem to be making it. But he wants us to go, well, the vice president said it was clear. So I guess, I don't know. I didn't think it was clear, but I don't know. I don't have any real confidence in myself. I'm a bit insecure. So, okay, I guess it's clear. So many of you act that way. Somebody offers you a fucking gaslight explanation for something that is more comfortable for you to believe, and you sink your teeth right into it. Stop that. It's not clear. If you are an objective human being, what the vice president of the United States is saying here is another example of the endless lies that come from all of these people.
Conversation. What's not reasonable is for so many of you to plaster all over the media that this was an innocent woman and that the ICE agent committed murder.
You do understand also, please, that this is not normal. When a situation like this occurs, it is not normal for the vice president of the United States to hold a press gaggle and fucking take an established position based on, I know what happened. No, the responsible thing that always happens in normal times is that they say, well, we are investigating this, and as soon as the facts come in, we will have a full report for you. These fuckers aren't doing that. This is not normal. This is not normal, but it is now. It is normal now because it's been normalized. Enough of this fucking nonsense has been occurring that now we expect the next people that come in, well, why isn't the vice president talking about this? It's not going to happen. If we ever get back to some semblance of normalcy,
which is what many of you have said explicitly and some of you have said implicitly. That's what I have an objection to. The idea that this was not justified is absurd, and I think everybody knows it in their heart.
All right, can we just get that guy? Can we just speed it up and move him into, Dan Quayle territory already, or Mike Pence, the territory of forgotten vice presidents who think that they're next, but nobody in this country buys their bullshit? My God. We can do this all day. We can do this all day, but we won't, because it's time for me to go home. It is time. once again, I'm telling you, root for Old Miss. I know it's troubling. Old Miss is taking on Miami tonight in just a couple of hours, 2.5 hours by my clock. Miami sucks. Miami's crooked. Miami is just nothing but the collection of the absolutely worst and talented football players that college football has to offer. They've always been that way. They are garbage. Okay. So don't root for Miami. I understand that, Old Miss, it's very troubling. The imagery is troubling. The branding is a little bit disturbing, but these kids got abandoned by their coach, who's one of the biggest assholes college football has ever produced, Lane Kiffin. And I think we should be rooting for them. So let's go Old Miss tonight. Let's get Old Miss to the national championship game. But is it tomorrow? Is tomorrow the game between? That's the game that I want to see. Woo! You know what? Let me just tell you. As a Midwestern kid, I had to sit here. For the last 10 years and listen to all of you people, all of my friends in Texas. The SEC is the best. And I'm like, you guys, the SEC is a flash in the pan. You guys are having a good stretch right now. The Big Ten, year in, year out, nay, decade in, decade out, produces teams that contend for a national title every fucking year. And that's right, we've got a Big Ten matchup. The Oregon Ducks and the Indiana Hoosiers. Yeah, I know. I barely myself still I am still not comfortable with Oregon being in the Big Ten. But whatever. They're in the Big Ten. They've only bolstered our ranks of good football play. I just hate the SEC. I just hate LSU. I hate Saban. There are other teams in the SEC I don't dislike. I like UT. I like there's schools that I like. But overall, that entire, in the arrogance during the Saban era and Kirby era and Clemson, and just the whole idea that, we are the greatest and everybody else sucks. And I'm like, well, every year you end up playing Ohio State. The Big Ten gets no credit for producing like the second best team every year in and year out. Okay, I guess not. Anyway, Big Ten football. That's right. That's where you go. I've brainwashed my kid into thinking that too, because my kid is being raised in the SEC South. I've got him turned into a bit of a Big Ten kid. So I like that. He's a lineman. That's what they do in the Big Ten. They play offensive line. I don't know what this is. Barney, what are you talking about? Obama set the standard for what? I wasn't following. Oh, I mean, you're behind, so I just saw this now. Obama, I don't know what you're talking about. Obama's the best president of my lifetime. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. You think I give a fuck? All of your complaints about Obama are things that I'm okay with. The drone war? Yeah, I'm okay with that. I was okay with it when fucking Trump was doing it. I was okay when Biden was doing it. You guys all tried. First of all, Obama is the only moderate, middle, 70% sensitive president we've ever had. He's the only guy that didn't play to the far left, even though you think he did because he's black, so he must be playing to the far left. But this fucking hatred over Obama, I love that it's still there because it shows how fucking scared you guys of him are. Yeah, Trump, go ahead. Try and run again. You know how quickly they'll run Obama? And he'll fucking destroy all your MAGA bullshit. What is this hatred for Obama? I don't know why I said I don't really think is he the best president of my lifetime? He might be. Fucking everybody was calm. Everybody but the racist and bigots were calm when he was president. That's a fact. And again, I'm not a Democrat or a liberal or anything. That's just objectively remembering the fucking country. I do remember when Bush was president, we were pretty divided because of the wars and all of that stuff. With Obama, I remember us only being divided because people didn't like the black guy calling the shots. So I don't know. Who the fuck? I don't get it. He's like a moderate. He's like the most moderate. Same with Hillary. Hillary was fucking like an arch conservative at times, but somehow, because it's easier to put everybody in boxes, she represented the liberal wing. Hillary has never been liberal in her life. Talk about a neocon warhawk. That's what Hillary was, but no, not good enough for you. Because what? Chick? What? She was with Clinton? I don't get it. You're all so fucking driven by partisanship. You can't look at people. I just spent like 5 minutes talking about how Marco Rubio is probably the most. You would never say that about a Democrat. Because you're all fucking biased. We got to stop that. All right. Thank you, Barney. Barney, I was trying to fill because I was hoping that you would be more clear. You set the standard on what? Is that on normalizing shit? I don't know. Every time Obama got up and made a speech, he was like fucking Shaft. He was cool. He was calm. He was sophisticated. He was elegant and articulate. The whole fucking world looked at him and went, yeah, you know what? That guy's got his shit together. And I don't give a fuck if it was an act. It was how he presented. Now we've got this doddering old fool who can't even complete full sentences and is starting wars with Canada. The fuck, man? All right, sorry, Barney. Barney says, not set the standard for premature comments. Did he? I don't know. I don't care. But here's the other thing. Why are we talking about Obama? Why? Why are we talking about Obama? The man is never going to run for anything ever again, unless you fuckers really push it. And I'm telling you, you're going to have something to deal with. That man is still young, and that man is beloved. I know, not among Barney and Byron. That fucker would win in a landslide if he ran again. Not even close. Do you know how many people in Texas I know that love Obama? So it's not like, I'm like down there in Texas and I'm like, really? Like, yeah, he's cool. He's cool. I'm like, wow, that's really not what the national perception is. And then you come up here to Illinois and fucking everybody loves him. I'm like, if he can have a solid, now look, you're never going to be able to beat the crazy church people down there. Although I do believe that we can destroy the church-driven far-right lunacy that has dominated Texas. Do you remember when you fuckers mobilized your National Guard because the people you elected had ginned you all up to thinking that Obama was invading? That's the level of stupid that you guys have been fucking supporting. So shut the fuck up. Not you, Barney, just in general. Barney never has to shut the fuck up. Barney pays for the ability to say whatever the hell he wants. Yeah, there's a shit ton of, I'm always shocked, but here's the thing. Nobody says it. Like, nobody in Texas will be like normal people in Texas, lifelong Republicans in Texas. None of them will say that they don't mind Obama because there's always a fucking Bubba with a fucking chip on his shoulder who's going to be like, what the fuck is you talking about? Because the loudest are always the dumbest, by the way. God, I am amped up. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I heard Chris Collinsworth. We're jumping all around. So Chris Collinsworth, this fucking idiot. I heard this guy say, did you hear Chris Collinsworth? I want to start. I think there's a website that could probably be. Do we actually listen to what the play-by-play and color analysts say? Or is it just background noise and we only listen to some of it? Or maybe we listen to all of it, but none of it resonates. We never go, what did he just say there? Let's actually think about what he just said there. Chris fucking Collinsworth, the other day on a national, whatever it is, Sunday Night Football, Chris Collinsworth goes, well, I find you like, well, in a locker room, it's the loudest and the most aggressive guy. He's usually the one that's right. Like, you just said that on national TV? That the loudest and most aggressive guy in a group is always the one that's right? You're a fucking idiot, Chris Collinsworth. It's the direct opposite. The person who's the loudest and the most aggressive about their opinion or point of view is usually the one that is incorrect, and that is why they are pushing so hard, because they want it to be correct. Be careful of the quiet contemplatives. Those are the people that actually know what's going on. Oh, boy. Hold on. Sorry, Barney. I got you. Here you go. Barney says, because you said it was normalized, so I mentioned who normalized it. The Cambridge police acted stupidly. If I had a son, he would look like Trayvon Martin. That sort of thing. Going back to the Trayvon Martin thing. Okay. Look, you're probably right. We can all be right. We can all be right in why we think the things that we think. I don't remember that, though. I don't remember that as good because it was 15 years ago. Why are you still holding on to this stuff? No, I'm kidding. Just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Clinton ain't coming back. Hillary? Don't ever fucking talk about Hillary again. What's wrong with you? Nobody wants to hear about Hillary. The Dems don't even want to hear about Hillary. Obama, though, you should probably stay worried about Obama because I don't think that family's done. I don't think so. Next Democratic president. We need to put Obama on the Supreme Court. There we go. Get him on the Supreme Court. Just get him in a position where he never has to go anywhere. Secretary of State. That's what we need. There you go. That's what we need. So when we get stuck with Gavin Newsom, because that looks like the way this is going. So when we get stuck with Gavin Newsom, Gavin Newsom needs to make Barack Obama the Secretary of State because there are some apologies that are going to need to be issued. We're going to need to have a Secretary of State who people like. We're going to need to have and the world fucking loves Obama. I'm sorry. I know Fox News doesn't want to hear that. Because remember, we're all embarrassed. Remember, he embarrassed us, and Trump is going to make them, respect us again. They don't respect us. They think that we are fucking off our fucking rocker. President of Germany just yesterday. Here we go. Let's give you the quote. What did the president of Germany say? What did the president of Germany say about Trump in the United States? This is the president of Germany. Here it is. German president declares the United States and Donald Trump is destroying the world order. French president condemns the United States and Donald Trump for turning away from their allies. Yeah. Remember that talking point you guys all gave us? They're gonna respect us. You know who respects us? Fucking Kim Jong-un, the fucking Arabs who gave him a jumbo jet and then let him play with that giant glowing orb. Meanwhile, the entire infrastructure of how we have maintained peace in this world over the last 50 years thinks that we're a bunch of criminals. But not American MAGA. American MAGA is still going, no, he's our guy, no matter how embarrassing he is. Give me a Republican. You know what? Just because I don't even want to go to will just another Republican rise up and call bullshit? No, can't do that because they're all fucking gutless. It's not like there's better choices with those Democrats. There's nothing there. There is nothing there. We're on our own, folks. That was fun. All right. I should do I think this show should just be me ranting about politics. I honestly think that might be a way that this show, my politics, unfortunately, don't connect with anybody. That's the problem with me and my politics. Fucking the right wing thinks I'm a lefty libtard and the libtards think I'm a fucking hyper conservative warhawk. I don't know. I'm just me. The only thing I know for a fact is that Trump is a dork and Obama was cool, okay? Objectively. I'm just saying, I don't care about policy and all that stuff. That's for egghead smart people. I'm talking about somebody sitting here watching and going, all right, who represents us on the world stage? We've got a fool representing and embarrassing us on the world stage. At least when Obama was there, he looked fucking cool. Ripping smokes while he's walking up the airplane. I know he never did that, but still. Oh, I don't like Obama because liberal. He's not liberal. Dude's super moderate. But okay. I declared him to be the best president of my lifetime. I have to admit now that I don't really believe that. I only said that because I was looking to shock and really stab Barney in the stomach. I don't know that that's true. I don't know who the best. I don't think it's all the same. I know who the fucking worst president of my lifetime is. That I know for sure. But who's the best president of my lifetime? I don't know. Let's go with Carter. I don't know. Yeah. Ford. So who are the 8 times? You got Clinton. You got Reagan. You got W. I'll tell you one that I like W the most. I like W. I like Obama too, though. Like it's no surprise to me that W and Obama are friends. And they're like both like guys that probably are pretty damn charming and know how to charm. There you go. I can't get out of here. Barney says, I have no concept of time. Basically, in my head, everything happened a week or two ago. Well, that's good. That's good. You haven't been smoking pot for the last 30 years because that's you are sharp. I think you're sharp. All right. What is going on here? Trump apparently gave an interview to the New York Times. Probably be hearing all about that tonight. That seems to be breaking right now. What's he talking to the failing New York Times for? I don't know. All right, guys, I love you very much. We'll talk tomorrow. Tip the show if you can. If not, whatever. Share the show. Like the algorithm. We meet here every day. I'm just a fucking crazy person who starts yelling and swearing, and I'm just a normal American dude just like you, sitting here watching all the bullshit and rejecting the spoon-fed agenda and propaganda of people who wish us nothing but the worst. Love you guys. Bye.